5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Here we go, boys.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
It is just us tonight. So I'm going to, looking back at a couple other friends that I have of mine that are doing podcasts, they're starting to do this thing where it's just them.
Hey.
And so let's wing it tonight. Let's see how it goes. I think it'll be fun. Guests come and go, but we all have each other.
That's all right. That's right.
This is going to be fun tonight.
I'd start singing, but there's no, just the three of us song.
I could make it right
Not
here.
yet. They're not yet anyway.
We'll get kicked off YouTube, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
So shame on you again for bringing that poison into the podcast again. God,
Indigo. Snoop Dogg. Get on it. Right there.
how dare you?
Notice how
So
the bottle's
bad, but so good.
still half full.
Yeah.
And how many weeks ago was it that you brought it and cracked it open?
Yeah, and it was fresh. From
I've never had booze last that long ever in my life.
No.
Yeah, 2 years from now, we'll be doing a podcast.
Yeah,
And
but,
we'll see him walking in the driveway with
yeah.
that same exact.
Hey, if I run out of gas on the way home, I just dump this in, man. It's that strong.
It was funny when you were walking up the driveway. Me and Brett were talking, and I look at you as you're walking up. I go, "He's bringing that nonsense again." God.
Well, that's why I used to always bring the shit that I didn't want for my home bar, like the parties and stuff. I go, oh, yeah, shut up. I'm going to leave it here, gift to the host.
You leave him with 20 bottles up there a whole year. Something's up here, man. And so what do we got today? We got the Poison Indiegogo.
The Poison Indigo. And then I got also, straight from the cooler, some CBD, performance CBD from Defy. Shout out to Terrell Davis, NFL MVP, Hall of Famer. He's got his own company out in Denver. So good. Doing workouts last summer. I had full stock of that.
Yep.
Oh, body felt so good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I take CBD. I take 850, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the bottle says 850 milligrams or whatever it is. I just take a vial full every day.
Yeah.
I have been for quite a long time. Excuse me. And it has made a difference. It takes about 3 weeks for me to start to feel better because I also cycle. I'll go a month or two using it, and then I'll off cycle for 3 weeks, and I'll go back on it. But I can obviously, there's a change in my body that goes through, when I get to the end of the third week,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 90 years old again. All those aches and pains, they start creeping back, but inflammation's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it affects a lot of people.
Yeah. Us after 40, man. That's when everything sits in.
And that's a lot more. Because you have digestive issues, so inflammation plays a part in that.
Yeah.
And then even just cardiovascular inflammation in your arteries creates hypertension and everything like that. So it throughout your whole body. It's not just my knee is sore. Inflammation is bad everywhere, and not just the parts that you feel.
Yeah. But the problem is there's so much CBD out there.
Yeah.
It can get kind of confusing, and where do you go? I remember talking to some guy that shout out to Absolute Nutrition in Chicopee.
Jim. Yeah.
Jimmy's our boy. The guy that he carries for CBD there, the guy was there that he sells, and he brought up a good point. These are certain things that you need to look for with CBD, like who's testing it, where does it come from, and how is it extracted from the plant, and those things play a major factor. But there's a lot of runoffs out there that I see.
It's still pretty loosely regulated, so they can say it has X amount of CBD, and a lot of the stuff they were testing has almost nothing, or at least nowhere close to what they're claiming. So you might be taking something and you're not getting the beneficial properties that you think you should be, and it's not because it doesn't work. It's because you're not getting how much you're supposed to be getting, or how much they're claiming you're getting.
Right.
Yeah, reputable source is huge. I say the dispensaries that are for the dispensaries carry CBD only stuff as well, but I don't know if I'd be buying it at a 7-Eleven or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff that I've got, I've been to GNC, grabbed a couple of things, but there's so much stuff out there. But I tell you what, I heard about it, and even George's brother, he had knee surgery, and he was telling me hey, I started using the cream, put it on my knees, stuff like that. He's like, boom, I felt good after about a couple of months. I'm like, throw some cream on it, that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't believe in voodoo, but I'm telling you, I started drinking that, and I used some of the cream. I felt so good last year. last summer, using it. It's been a while since I've gotten it back because, I don't want to get like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm hooked. Like I freaking, you got to have it all the time. But yeah, man, like I don't believe in voodoo, but that stuff was.
So just some like a recovery and like a soreness.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You notice a big difference?
And it's more too with hydration. So, I mean.
Yeah, because that's like a.
Yeah,
electrolytes, like a Gatorade.
Right, and that's their other part of it too, because a lot of companies, it's just the creams and this whatever, but they're thinking more of being active and on the go and whatever it might be, not just with sports, but like freaking work and deliveries and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I got when I think this was when it was still like medicinal only. A friend of mine was able to get me some of the lotion, from like the only dispensary used to exist up in Northampton, and it was THC CBD. And my mom was always complaining about different pains. She had neuropathy in her feet, and she had some problems like nerve pains and stuff like that. Like, she was in a lot of pain, and so I'm like, well, try this. She's like, I'll try anything at this point. And I got it for her. And she, put it on a couple of days later because my wife was using it like on her elbow. She almost had like a tennis elbow thing. She's like, I don't know. Same thing. She's like, I don't know about the voodoo or whatever. She's like, if it's like a placebo, but like it feels better. A couple of days later, it's like. So I told my mom that. She's like, yeah, try some. So I picked up a bottle and then like a week later, she's like, can you get any more of that? Yeah. And I'm like, wait, you're done with that already? It was like an 8-ounce bottle, She's like, no. She's like, but it works great. I was like telling one of my friends about it, and now they want some. Yeah. So I like go grab a couple more bottles, and I show up at the house. I'm like, I'm like, even one in a million years, you tell me that I'm going to be my mom's weed dealer. I don't care if it's lotion or not. I'm bringing THC to your house right now. Yeah. But yeah, she swore by it. I mean, I get my CBD the old-fashioned way. Yeah. But
yeah. I mean, there's zero. I mean, there's like literally no THC in this, but it's like there's so much stuff that's out there, and I mean, plus too now, like I said, once you turn 40, and you're like start to feel this. Feet hurt, ankles, and your knees and your elbows, and it's like, what can we do? What can we use? What can we, I hear all these different, cryotherapy and creams and all these different things that are out there, man. Like, hey,
the answer has just been illegal for 60 or 80 years.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, even from like a hemp standpoint, like I'm looking up right now all the different available products that we can buy from hemp. It's huge, and even when it comes to like building materials, it's lighter, it's far less expensive, and So I don't know if you guys saw the price of wood lately, but I'd rather rob Home Depot of their wood than a bank because it's the wood's a lot more expensive now.
Yeah, I know it comes up a lot, but follow the money comes up a lot. So if you look at the banning of hemp, THC, CBD, and all that stuff, and what different people chose to lose if it remained remained legal.
Right.
So, and you just named off a bunch of it. So you have paper, and then you have the textile industry, which in the early 1900s was
huge.
Was it? Like,
if I'm not mistaken, weren't we the #1 export of hemp at one time?
Yeah. I mean, so you got textile and steel. Like that's what was going on in this country. Turn of the century. That was the bulk of the Industrial Revolution, and so now all of a sudden you're putting cotton producers out of business. And this isn't even touching the pharmaceutical companies, which that's the THC side of it.
Yeah, right.
Because that part hadn't even really been looked at. But just by way of oils, because you can burn it, you can use it as hemp oil. You can use it as a heating oil, like kerosene and stuff like that. You can make plastics with it, biodegradable plastics.
Yep.
Henry Ford made a hemp car. Yeah. All the body panels, 100% made out of hemp. And there's like videos of him like hitting it with a sledgehammer. So this is like, remember like when in the 80s when Saturn came out and they're like, oh, dent-proof panels because they made a plastic car.
Right.
Like, yeah, Henry Ford did that with hemp like in the 30s or 40s.
It's crazy.
It's something it requires almost no pesticides or fertilizers because it's a weed and it's very
anti-insect.
Yeah, anti-insect. It's very I'm not gonna think of the word. Oh, it'll come back to me. But resilient. It's very resilient. Yeah. And so you got oil, you got paper, you got a cotton or type fabric, and then just everything else, and it grows exponentially faster than cotton.
Yep.
Requires less water.
Yep.
And you can actually harvest more out of like an acre of hemp versus like an acre of cotton and some other products. It's unbelievable how beneficial it is and how it was suppressed to save other industries, and how they grouped hemp in with THC.
Right.
Like I can understand.
Well,
Okay,
that was the
you
ploy,
want to schedule
you know.
a drug, but so let's pack this together with a psychoactive compound, which is proven. There's no dispute there. But hemp plants have no THC, or minutes, like less than an alcoholic beer has of alcohol, but no, we're just going to group that together and call it illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And we'll just subsidize petroleum.
yeah.
And all these other things we should not be.
All right, that was the other industry I left out. I said steel and cotton.
Hey, you got the top. You got the top two.
I can't believe I forgot petroleum.
Don't worry, I got your back. Yeah, I mean, it's. I know what it's done for me. I saw what it did for my father when he was passing away. And there's a lot of things here. Like there's 80 different compounds in CBD oil. It helps with people with such as strokes, trauma, or stroke and trauma, the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, and
MS probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
all sorts of that stuff. And so it always befuddles me how we have these earth-like
It's
you know what I mean? Like we have the solution right in front of us, and yet they let these things go, and they put all these bad connotations with it when they can actually help people. I mean, like I said, I know what it did for me. Not to mention the fact that I have horrible insomnia. There's weeks where I'll go 3 or 4 days being up at 12, 1 o'clock, and I'm up for the day. So I always find myself when I cycle off it, I start to kind of go in that route again.
And why do you cycle off it?
They say it's good for you to do that. So
probably for tolerance.
Yeah, because there was a point in time where I was taking, 2 because I wasn't feeling. I was taking 2 vials a day, and I don't know if that even hurts you to do 2, but
you can't overdo it, really.
No,
but
no, it does make you sick. Like I've gotten nauseous a couple times.
Probably just from the oils.
Yeah, from taking too much. Yeah.
Especially since you have
did you when you had that, was it just straight, or was it did you mix it with anything, or
just straight in the dropper under the tongue for about a minute
or
so.
Okay,
and then swallow the
it's
rest.
Usually like a coconut or an olive oil because it's fat soluble, so it absorbs right into the oils. And
I think the debate I always get into is you look at some of them and they're clear, so it's over processed, and then the other stuff is very green and earthy. I don't really know where I go. Like the one I got now is a little more golden, so I know there's probably a little bit of on both sides, but there's some companies out there that it's pure white, and I'm like, does that really do anything?
They might filter the color particulates out just to make it look more appealing,
Yeah,
and there's consistency there, because all your plants and depending on how long it steeps for or whatever the process is, it's gonna be inconsistent. I think because it's a plant. You can only be so consistent with vegetation how you process it down. So they're probably filtering out the color particulates just to standardize things and make it, so people aren't like, oh, why is this one a little darker than last time? If you're getting the same brand every time, it's a different color every time.
I'm like a big fan of like flavors. So like if it's who's the guy that is the multi-millionaire on Instagram? The guy with all the models, and he has
I just seen that
Dan,
idea.
it's
like Dan.
It's like Bazinga or something with
Balzerian. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I just saw that the other day on Instagram. Don't ask.
But he does a lot of things
topic.
with CBD, and I was on there one day looking up his CBD line, and he's got some crazy flavors.
Damn, I know it. I know it is. It's crazy.
So Balzerian, right? That was
it.
Yeah.
But he dabbles in the other world too. But I mean, it's a crazy. I don't even know what it is a year for these companies to make these things, or what that looks like as an income. But I can just imagine, the floodgates are open. So you think you really have to be careful. You really got to do your homework.
Yeah.
Find out where it's made from. How do they extract it? There's a system. So if anybody knows out there in YouTube land where the best place to look that up, definitely put it in the comments below, because we could definitely use your help on that. So you want to talk about our candles today?
Shoot, man. I want to talk about what Brett's drink. Brett's got a layer.
Oh, that's right. We skipped Brett. We skipped Brett.
The layer cake, man. It's not. I don't even know if you want to.
Yeah, I've had this. This is one of my go-tos. As always, drinking a Malbec, one of my favorites. As far as wine goes, Layer Cake, just your average run-of-the-mill, mid-priced Malbec, nothing special. It does have a catchy name and a cool label.
That was going to be my next. I mean,
and it has a screw top, which
it's starting to become more popular.
It's starting to become more popular because they're realizing that corks actually aren't that great. As far as keeping, the air exchange and keeping the wine fresh. So when you see a screw top, it's not as bad as it used to be considered.
People would look at you and go, I can't believe that guy's got a screw top on.
Yeah.
Hey, it'd be easy for me. If you ever watch me do it, I'm sitting here like this. I put a cork in so many bottles, man.
I always feel like I get it right to the end and like I'm gonna hulk it out way too much and it's gonna go flying out somewhere. I get right to the edge and I just keep playing with it, Does it taste like chocolate cake at all? Or is it even supposed to taste? Or
that's just
the
the brand. They make a whole bunch of other different types of wine. Layer Cake is just the brand.
I know that was
that
was gonna be mine. I'm like, does it got any hint of vanilla, chocolate, anything?
Well, so Malbec's just the grapes themselves kind of have like a blackberry tone. If you want to grab a glass, you can grab a sip. It's actually got a. That's why I drink. I drink a lot. I can't say I drink a lot of it, but it's the majority of the wine I drink is Malbec.
Yeah.
Just because it's just the right flavor profile for me. And I'm not like a wine connoisseur by any means, but I've had plenty of wines that I'm like, I just don't like it, too sweet, too dry, whatever. And this one just does it for me. I actually got Brian Durand. I got him to thank for it because we went out to eat.
Oh my God, they're bringing up names today.
we went out to eat, this is years ago, and he was, essentially like a sommelier for Smith & Walensky, I think, out in Boston, like the big Castle restaurant, or at least one of their wine experts, and we went out to eat, and he ordered a bottle, and he's like, here, try this. And I'm like, man, this is really good. And I pretty much I look for it on every menu whenever I go anywhere, not necessarily that type, because I would never remember what it was. And I think I actually took the label off the bottle because I liked it so much when we were there.
Yeah.
But either way, like I'll go to, and I've tried a ton of different Malbecs, and I go for it every time because there's something about, and it's, specifically out of like our South America, Argentina mostly. It's based on the type of grape. So I have not seen, I can't say it doesn't exist, but I have not seen one grown in any other regions other than South America.
Oh, wow.
And I just, I love it. Like last night I went out to dinner and I didn't see it on the menu. Was it last night? No, it was, anyway, last few days I went out to dinner with my wife and I didn't see it on the menu by glass or by the bottle. So I just ordered a glass of a Cabernet. And I got the Cabernet. I was like so disappointed.
Yeah.
And then
don't you hate that? You're like, I'm so looking forward to it.
I took a sip of it, and like Paula knew immediately. She's like, "How's the wine?" I'm like, I really just hope they had a Malbec. She's like, they didn't have one, and we're at Food 101 in South Hadley, which is it's a nice restaurant. She's like, I can't believe they don't have it. And then she found it. It had one, and it was like hidden, because it didn't stand out. She's like, oh, it's right here as a bottle. I'm like, I already ordered glass. Glass is like $13. Bottle's like 40 something. I'm like, well. If I drink at least 2 more glasses, I should have just bought a bottle. She's like, why don't you just buy a damn bottle and I'll help you finish it.
But they can recork bottles now, can't they?
You can take. I know I've been to some places where you can take them.
Yeah.
I didn't ask. Usually it's almost like take it as a challenge,
Right.
Like, no,
they're like, let's go.
Challenge accepted. Yeah. But so she offered, I knew that I would not have my glass plus finish a bottle in the time we're sitting down having dinner.
Yeah, in your 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Your 90 minutes sitting time.
I mean, like I'll usually finish a bottle here over like 2.5 hours, and even that sometimes cutting it close. But so either way, I got my Malbec, and it was like night and day difference. I'm like, I wish I saw this in the beginning. It's crazy.
Malbec.
Yeah.
I'm just.
That's actually the first time I've heard that. So.
It's not a popular thing. Like, you got the Cabernet, you got your Pinot Noir, you got your Merlot, and like those are your top 3. You go to every restaurant, that's what they got. I never heard of it before, and it's predominantly what I drink. Like, if I'm at a package store, it's what I'm buying. That or one of those whiskey aged ones that I've
Yeah.
Shout out Brian Durand.
Yeah, shout out Brian Durand.
DD.
Oh, we have to get him out here.
Yeah.
He's out in where's he live now? Marshfield or something like that. I talked to him every once in a while.
Man.
Yeah. I got a Folgers coffee today. I'm I'm living on the edge today.
Best part of waking up, man.
It's getting to the point where it gets late at anything. It's like at 4:30 because I'm on the way home usually around that time. I think my body automatically starts wearing down because I got a long ride.
Yeah.
So I get in that mode, and I'm like, oh man, I need a coffee. I might have some wine after this, but I think I've been doing better with the podcast with having a glass of coffee. It kind of gets me going for a minute, and then I could relax with a little bit of wine, in the middle or towards the end. But I can't start off like that. Stuff absolutely killed me last time. I watched the podcast after when I was editing it, and it was great, man. That was great.
The only time if I see you at a summer barbecue or something, I will try that. But this is not a Monday night podcast drink for me. I know.
Still, look at. I mean, that's. I'm seriously. This is probably
pretty impressive. I mean, that's pretty impressive for the most part that it got that far.
Yeah.
Because, like I'm saying, I could have drank gasoline and went down the gullet easier than. That's no joke.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So hey. I'm proud of you for
still going. Hey, we should put a line every time we come in here. Just see how far it is. Usually your height goes up, but no, we're gonna try to see how we can go.
Just have the guests autograph, like like it was here.
I died at this line. So one of the things that we threw out today was, especially on our podcast here, we like to have everything go naturally. We don't try to rehearse anything. There's usually not a topic for the most part. 90% of the time, we just start talking and let it go where it goes. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about what we do. So we threw it out to Facebook today, and people started giving us kind of some of the topics that they wanted to hear us talk about today. So one of them was from my buddy Tom Kane, who was a guest on our show, just an absolute funny stand-up guy. Do fish get thirsty?
I'm laughing for a reason. I'll tell you.
All right.
When it comes to me,
you didn't bring any. You didn't bring any Swedish fish with you today.
No, I got no fish, no candy, man.
I'm gonna have to work on that.
No,
a little Swedish fish bowl right here.
Right?
Yeah, you know what I was thinking about that. So one of my accounts that I work on.
Kill me. I'll gain 10 pounds a week. That's just a bad idea.
One of the accounts that I go to, she's a phenomenal person, and I walk in one day and she's like, "Hey Jeff, you got to check out this new website called nuts.com." And I go, "I'm not going on that site." And she goes, "No, for real." And she wasn't like, she was just buying a whole bunch of stuff off it, and she was just talking to me, and the whole place just starts laughing. And she goes, "No, seriously, it's a great site for food." I'm like, "Yeah, right." So she goes, "Go ahead." So I'm like, "All right, I'll look at it." And sure enough, it's got gummy bears, all sorts of fruits, like dried fruits, chocolate covered gummy bears. I was impressed. So I ordered a whole bunch of stuff off this. So nuts.com. You can't go wrong. I mean, I'm a huge snacker. I love to snack, and if we had a bowl of something right here, I guarantee it's not going to last long. But Swedish fish, man, you can't go wrong with that.
It's just my go-to. It's actually from coaching, because I used to be a seed guy, like sunflower seeds all the time.
Yep.
Then you go to certain places,
no seeds.
You're like, "Oh, am I gonna spit all these seeds? Like, where am I gonna spit them at?" And then you walk around. If I'm at a track or a football field, you only walk around so many different places. So you just look around and you're like, "Well, I'm that guy that just had all these seeds." So scratch that. I don't really chew gum.
I'm not a gum fan either.
Coaching, I can't do the lollipops. I'm like, what the freak can I get? And I just started getting these little seriously, I just started getting little candies, and it ended up being, I took the wrong route one time. I got those juju fish. those are Swedish fish, totally different, man, totally different. So I got those, and I was like, nah, this ain't it. And then, boom. And then it's just kind of
now it's your trademark.
I mean, when I die, I say this all the time. I die, throw some in the casket with me, man.
Pouring out a little Swedish fish, man.
Here's my dead homie. And it's Swedish fish.
So you mentioned snacking, so I got to bring this place up because it's like one of our favorite places. If you're ever in New Hampshire, I don't know exactly what region it is. It's kind of like near Franconia Notch, that area. Littleton, New Hampshire. Okay, so Littleton, New Hampshire, like Main Street, USA town. Like, their Main Street looks out of a postcard. But there's a place called Chudder's. Okay, Chudder's Candy Store, right on Main Street. At least I think it's Main Street, but it's what I would recognize as a Main Street.
Hey.
In the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's longest candy counter. So like penny candy style, like the jars.
Yeah.
Obviously not penny candy anymore. They do actually still have like a 4 or 6 foot section of true penny candy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Because you remember go down to Lecca's parents' store, right?
Old corner store.
Jimmy's, remember Jimmy's Market?
Yeah.
Filling up on the penny or just getting it from Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
So But like that, glass jars, if you name it, like shit that you remember from like when you were 5 years old up till when you're 45 years old, they have it. And stuff you've never heard of. I mean, it's just a sea of different candy. Of course, they got the Swedish fish, you know, the big and the small, and the rainbow. And
what does it take you to get there from here?
It's a couple hours probably.
We need to make a road trip.
That's
like
seriously.
We usually we camp up in that area. You know, we've gone into like Franconia and done a lot of hiking up there. Been into like the Mount Washington area. We went actually most recent time we were up there. We were up there for the ice castles, which it's a little bit. It's actually on the way home from the ice castles and a little bit off the route.
Yep.
But whenever we're in that area and it's like, it's a 45-minute detour because they have like a whole bunch of we're huge small business supporters, so like. They're a small business, plus a lot of the stuff they have a lot of like, kind of like that farm store type stuff. Like
I love that stuff.
The little signs and like the pickled stuff. And if you put something in pickle juice, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you name it, and I've had it pickled, and I probably love it.
Yeah.
So they always have a huge selection of that, and like they have a whole hot sauce section. So like. It don't matter. Like every time, like my new favorite is a maple sriracha hot sauce.
Oh my god!
Made in Vermont, but they always have it there. And I'm like, we got to go get the maple sriracha, and we'll get some. Kids will get some candy. But Chudder's, and there's some other cool shit. In that area.
Yeah.
There's a brewery right behind there. Schilling's Brewery. They're right on this river with like a covered bridge, and they have a restaurant. Recommend the food, recommend the beer. Like that whole area is really cool. If you feel it's if you don't mind a couple hours in a car, it's a cool Saturday day trip.
Yeah, but that's a good result though. Getting up there and then.
Yeah. Who doesn't love candy?
And then there's another place. I'm just gonna like plug a whole bunch of places. My favorite place is White Mountain Canning, and they do like if you've ever had like Saratoga Olive Oil Company. They do like flavored and infused olive oils and balsamic vinegars, like for dipping and stuff. And they have a huge canned like pepper jellies and jellies and honey. And like I actually just cracked open a thing of smoked habanero cheddar cheese.
Ooh,
like this, they got it from a farm that buys the habanero cheddar cheese from Cabot in Vermont, and then they are like a smokehouse farm, and then they smoke it and they repackage it.
Oh man.
This shit was out of control. I mean, like between the smoky flavor and the habanero. But yeah, that's enough plug-in business. Littleton, New Hampshire. It's like it's definitely worth it. A lot of times we'll do it like as an overnighter or something, or again we'll catch it going north or south. In and out of New Hampshire, Vermont. Highly recommend it. Though. But Chudder's.
And the crazy thing is like you were saying, all these spots. I can guarantee you, somebody's watching.
Yeah.
They've been there before. They're over here drooling when they're gonna see this, and then there's probably gonna be people like, you know what? Like, we got to go up there. We got to go there. We got to check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love candy. And I because I ride so much, I have candy in the car all the time.
A little something.
It's probably why I weigh 250 pounds. But mine is gummy bears, hands down.
Yep.
I like gummy worms too, but it has to be the right gummy worm. Like the hard one.
Can't be a Juju gummy worm.
No. Or that 2 for $1 nonsense. That stuff will just kill you.
You'll love this place then because they have the gummy everything.
Oh,
gummy cherries, gummy Coke bottles, like all that stuff.
What about for like chocolate? What's your favorite chocolates? Are you into chocolate? I'm a big Kit Kat fan.
Chocolates. I gotta go Reese's.
Yeah,
good call.
I gotta go Reese's. I gotta go peanut butter cups though. I can't. Reese's Pieces.
No, it's too much. It's like they're too sweet. You have a couple of them, and it's like there's something about it.
Reese's Pieces. All day friendlies. That's my Sunday go to.
Yeah, but I think there's not enough chocolate to offset.
You're an ice cream. You're an ice cream guy.
I'm an ice cream guy.
Yeah, you are.
But chocolate Reese's peanut butter cup, hands down.
All the different styles do the extra thick, the chunky, the freaking. They got the one. Have you had to have the one with the little Reese's Pieces inside it?
I did. It's kind of like the crazy burger at the Big E. Like you're like, I had it. It's
I'll
good.
try it. Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I don't know if they still make it, but I was a big fan of was the Nutrageous. Reese's made that bar.
I remember that.
I remember that.
Like a Reese's peanut butter cup bar with chunk with like peanuts.
Yeah.
That was but Reese's.
Yeah, I didn't hate that, by the way.
Yeah, no, they haven't really missed. Yeah. I think Reese's Pieces is just an acquired thing, and it's like I think everything else they do like overshadows Reese's Pieces, and it does have that like it's not a long-term snack. It's like a one handful.
And that's it. That's it. What about you? What's your chocolate?
Definitely Kit Kats all the way.
Kit Kats.
I'm a huge Kit Kat fan, but I don't like the way they play with it, man. Like Kit Kat should be the way they are. Although if they came out with a mint chocolate chip,
It already exists.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Japan flavors?
Well, I haven't found them in chocolate chip yet. Not that I really go looking for it, but I have not seen the Japanese ones.
So when Jay Trench, name drop again, rest in peace, Jay Trench. When he was in Japan, I hit him up and I was like, dude, can you send me some like for the kids?
Right.
I'm like, one of my kids was into Domo, that little Japanese like anime guy, and then I'm like, just send me like a gift basket. Let me know what just send me a whole bunch of shit you think the kids will like. Here's some of what they like, like true Japanese Pokemon and some other stuff. And he sent me like 8 different Kit Kats that I've never. They had green matcha tea.
Oh yeah, I bet you that's
red
good.
bean. So like in Japan, and we went and visited him afterwards, and there's no we traveled for 10 days. There was one candy store.
Oh wow.
There's no candy.
There's nothing
almost
like
nothing
that.
has sugar. Yeah. They have some sweet treats that we bought one like little like kind of like baked or like I don't even know how like almost like a grilled pastry. It was almost like an Uncrustable, like a dough with but it had like a chocolate, almost like a Nutella inside it. But the more popular one was red bean. They use red beans to sweeten everything.
Yeah.
So like it's a red bean paste. So they had a red bean Kit Kat and then like a bunch of other random stuff. But you'll see them like if you go to like Five Below, they have like a little Japanese candy section.
Oh, do they
and
really?
You'll see them. There's like these things called Pocky, which is almost like a dough stick, like a bread stick, like a thin crunchy bread stick, like coated in different flavored chocolates and confections, and they'll usually have those, and they have some of the like I wouldn't call them off-brand, but like different unique flavor Kit Kats, and you cannot believe the variance of stuff. I mean, like my brother, probably won't say it. My brother works for a chip company, okay, and like I went over there, and I'm sending him pictures. They're like. It's like shrimp and lobster chips.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you have these? Why can't I get these in Western Mass?
Yeah. I was just watching a TikTok the other day where somewhere in Mass, there's a huge Japanese supermarket, like huge. And they were going through with the camera and showing up all these different things. I can't wait to go. I love everything Japanese.
Where is it?
my tattoos are all Japanese. I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find it right now, but it was absolutely humongous. And it was so impressive. I said to Cheryl, I said, we're going.
Yeah.
Like, we're going for a road trip.
Yeah.
I love to do that kind of stuff. And now that it's lightening up a little bit out there, we can
you can make
your
trips. You can drive around a little bit and see what's going on, around the area, or shoot, take road trips.
It's hard for her with the long drives. Sometimes like we'd have to probably go just to get a hotel room, and come back because with her brain injury, it's really hard to to maneuver that around.
Well, you got the camper now, so you just
Well, that's going to be more stationary.
Oh, that's right. You're doing a seasonal. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't want to. Because I don't have to buy a truck.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm going to have to, but we just bought 2 new cars 2 years ago.
It's a pain in the ass, especially with like a bigger camper. Like I had the bigger camper, and it's a lot to do weekend trips and stuff like that. So I went down to I went without a camper for a bunch of years, and actually then my brother had a camper I could utilize. And even that was a big one, so I wouldn't grab it just for a weekend. Like if I was going somewhere for a week, I'd be like, hey, let me get your camper. Otherwise, I would go in a tent.
Right.
Now I have a pop-up, and that's like, it takes a little longer to set up, probably another hour. But when you get good at it, it's not a big deal, and it's super easy. It's easy to drive, and you got something that weighs 7,000-8,000 pounds behind you. It's exhausting just to tow that.
Yeah.
Like, think about it because like there's stress involved, and you have to be way more alert and way more aware of what your car's doing and how it's acting, and especially when you're accelerating and stopping. Plus I'm just overly paranoid with anything like auto mechanical anyway, because I'm always worried there's gonna be a problem with the car. So I'm like always listening for shit. But either way, towing a big camper like for a short trip sucks.
Well, one of my friends was telling me the other day that they're having a hard time getting trucks. So a friend of his went to go trade in his truck. And they're like, sorry, you're going to have to wait like 3 months before we get another load of trucks in. With Corona, it's been a tough time.
Yeah.
And
that was campers last year. Like
was it really? Yeah.
Because nobody could do anything anywhere, and campsites are still like booked for the whole summer. Like,
now why is the fact that there's a shortage of trucks? Like what's the
production
probably,
parts.
And then so like the camper's at the mechanics right now because we got it used. Going through the whole thing, making sure it's perfect. Because once we set it somewhere, basically, I just want to set it and forget it.
Right.
So this year, we couldn't get a seasonal site this year. We tried. We still might.
What were you looking again? I forget.
I don't want to say on air.
Okay.
But I'll tell you off air.
Because there is a place in Brimfield I just got that looks really cool. I don't know if that's the place, but I just got like an ad from them. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, it's so we're there for 3 months, and we have to move the camper 5 different times when we're there.
Oh, so you basically book to their maximum, and you're gonna move. Yeah.
Yep. So Kenny's gonna help me move it each time.
Yep.
You know, so I don't have to worry about that. And he's been camping for so long; he knows the ins and the outs. So I feel more comfortable with that. But it's I really wish we could have just got it, set it, forget it. You know, because we really have our heart set on staying here because through Kenny we met a whole bunch of awesome people, and we kind of feel at home there. You know what I mean? So. But I'm not a camping guy. Like before this, so my worst story is, and this is at the same place that we want to go to, and this was years ago. So my son, we had Cheyenne, our dog. We weren't living out here at the time, so she had to be like 3, right around there. So we're on the top of the hill, on the toppest, most part of the campground, and there's a storm coming through. So the owner comes up and he's like, "Hey guys, why don't you make your way down to the pavilion? You're not going to get a lot of shelter there, but it's going to be better than where you are now."
Now, are you like in a tent at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I thought we were macking. Like we bought this
tent,
huge
right?
tent. That had like a whole other section for the kids and the dog, you know, and it branched out. So we had the picnic table out there and everything. And sure enough, here comes the storm. And I'm like, well, this is either going to suck really bad or we're going to get through this. And this tent was like I thought about a solid tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It mowed down our tent.
Can't mess with Mother Nature, man.
She kicked our butt. It came flying down on top of us. So here I have a toddler. My son was, I don't know, maybe 10. And so I got everybody into the car. Everything is just soaking wet. The dog is just like drenched. Got her in the car. And I was so upset. Like I got everything we needed that was important. Like, and we start leaving. She's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "We're leaving. We're going home." And she's like, "What about our tent?" I go, "It's gonna stay." And I never went back there to get it.
Oh, really?
No, I left it there. And
hanging in the trees somewhere, man.
I mean, I thought we were gonna die. That's how bad.
Really?
The wind was picking up. The rain was actually going sideways when I got out.
Yeah.
So here I am. You know, I've got to pull the car up as close as I can, get the baby in there, get my son in there, and God, it was just a horrific experience. And then we bought a pop-up, and I don't know where we were. I can't remember where we were, but, I'm not really good at, we talk about this all the time, I'm not good about taking time off of work.
Yeah.
So we got there with the pop-up, and it rains the entire week. And we were right down the street. And that's when we started to get to know the town that we're in now by going around and just doing stuff because it was raining.
Yep.
Right.
So that was kind of funny and my grandfather used to camp at 2 of the campgrounds local for years. So he used to go camping during the summer and then go down to Florida for the winter. And that's what he did. He didn't own a house anymore. That's what he did back and forth. Yep. So eventually that's what I kind of want to do, when I get older.
I think that's probably what I would do with the Northeast. Is like I would have a campground or like a seasonal, and then I would probably like travel, like motorized RV during the winter months in the warmer states.
Yep.
Kind of like south along the southern edge, along the West Coast.
Yeah.
And then come back because I love the Northeast. I actually even like especially parts of fall and stuff like that. But I definitely see myself being done with snow at some point.
I hate the snow. I am the wrong section of the United States that hates snow. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like snow, cold, fall, summertime. I'm the most miserable
Are you really?
person
Yeah,
ever.
I don't like that. Like
no,
that high humidity. shit. Yeah.
When Mir knows it, when it's hot, it's just don't talk to me. I'm just the most miserable person. I hate it. Everything I do, you just walk around. I mean, I sweat like Shaq at the free throw line, man.
Me
It
too.
just
Don't go to Japan in the summer then.
It's brutal.
100% humidity.
Yeah.
I'd be in a hotel, and I think we went there in July or August, and I would walk outside.
Yeah.
And condensation would form. I'd have rain on my glasses because my glasses were cold from being in the air-conditioned hotel, and I would walk out into the humidity.
Yeah.
And I was a lot bigger guy at that point, and it was instant sweat.
Yeah.
Like I would change my shirt 3 times a day
Wow.
Yeah,
because
see?
it looked like I went.
See, that's
Yeah. See,
It
I
looked
don't
like I went swimming every day.
Yeah.
Like, within an hour.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And it's crazy because like I'm not a campground guy. I'll go camping. I mean, I'm afraid of snakes, so that's like my worst fear is like something coming in. But I mean, I could be out there, bears, all whatever's out there. Don't bother that. That stuff don't bother me. But like the humidity when it's just hot.
You bring up a great point. I don't even think I'll have a fucking seasonal campground in New England because I'm gonna be like, actually, maybe I'll just camp in San Diego. I hear that's nice, during the summer.
Yeah,
I'm a big camping guy. Like, I mean, that's what we try to do. And any time we have a weekend that doesn't have any other type of commitments, like whether it's a tent or in a camper or like, my brother just grabbed a seasonal site up at a place in Vermont and like, we'll go visit him. We love it. I mean, my kids are all
and if there was fishing near it, I'd be go to campground. Let's go catch.
Oh, almost if you go to like almost every, I can't say almost every, large percentage of campgrounds have some sort of lake or pond, and you can fish. There's actually a really good one. I had a lot of fun at last year, 2 years ago, up in Salmon Falls, Maine. It's like, if you take a wrong turn out of the driveway, you're in New Hampshire. And it's a KOA campground, so they're like a nation. Actually, they're almost like a worldwide, or at least North America franchise campground system. So there's certain standards that you can expect because they're franchised. There's franchise agreements. So it's not like some weird campground you don't know you're getting. Like there's certain things that you just learn to expect because there's those expectations from the corporate world. But Salmon Falls, and they had
just the name sounds good.
So it was crazy. It was like two campgrounds combined into one. Like you actually, depending on what campsite you're in and what activity you wanted to do, you had to cross a street.
Yeah.
Because it was like a big campground over here, big campground over here. They had a giant water slide that went into into a pool.
Yeah.
They had a lazy river where you could like get a tube and float down the river. Yeah. They had fishing. You name it. They had a big cornhole tournament while I was there. They had tie-dye activities for the kids. Like this place,
like it was busy.
It was action-packed. Like there was not like we were like looking at a schedule. I felt like as a music festival. I'm like, well, I really want to see this band, but I don't want to miss this band. It was like, well, I want to do the tie-dyes, but I don't want to miss the freaking belly flop competition or whatever. Like I especially for the kids, and like I don't like being involved in stuff so much, because we'll go back to the introvert thing. Like I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to go sign up for anything, give my name, interact. Yeah. I'm like, but I can be like, here, kids, go do this, and I'll watch and I'll love it. As your dad, like that's the stuff I really look forward to is like keeping everyone busy, so like they don't want to like look at their phone,
Yeah.
And I can't say normally, and it's one of the reasons why I've stayed away from like a seasonal site is we like to go to a different place every time. Like when we go on vacation, we rarely go to the same place. When we go camping, because I'm like, well, I already saw that. And even if I absolutely loved it, I might like these other 10 places more. So I'm like,
that's why I was going to ask you that. Like, even a spot that you love, you're like, I'm good. We had fun. Let's do the same thing at another spot.
Yeah. So like that Salmon Falls one is like, that's like my fallback list. I'm like, I loved it. So like if for some reason we got some time and we're going to do something and I can't figure something else out, I'm going to look there, and that's kind of like what it is. And that's how we are with all our travels. Like, I don't think we've really duplicated any vacations other than the traditional family vacation that we've done with my family since I was young enough to remember. And that's Wells Beach, Maine. Like we don't do it every year like we used to, but we'll go there when the rest of the family agrees, and it's my brothers and my parents and everything. We'll go there and we'll rent the spot.
Yep.
But for the most part, that's the only vacation I've duplicated. Like, I'm going somewhere different every time.
Yeah.
And I have a list of places that I'm like, okay, I'll go back.
Right.
I really would like to go back. I didn't see enough, but there's places that I haven't seen at all. And like my whole honeymoon was through what we did a Mediterranean cruise, and we stopped in, Spain, France, Greece.
I bet you that was awesome.
Parts of Italy. I was in Rome for a day. You can't see Rome in a day.
No.
But I saw a part of Rome, so I'm like, I want to go there and spend a week there.
Yeah.
But there's a million other places I haven't been at all.
Right.
Like, so I saw the Colosseum, even if I was just driving by on a bus, and like I didn't get inside the Sistine Chapel, but I got to see, I walked through St. Peter's Basilica and got to see all that. There's like, I don't even want to think about how much I didn't see in Rome, but I saw enough to make me think like, well, I can kind of wait.
Yeah.
Because there's places that I haven't seen at all.
Right.
And
yeah, because that's how. No, I'm good. You know, because that's how we are. Like we will actually love places, but it's like, oh, we gotta go back to the spot. We gotta go back here. But it's true. There's so many other, and we always have a good time. It's not that you know Vegas was the best spot or Toronto was the best spot. We can still have the same amount of fun. We still action packed. Go see tourist attractions all over the place. But it's like, shoot, there's 800 million other cities to go to. You're gonna see the same stuff, and I'd love to do it like that in China. But we always love going back to the same place, man.
I'm lucky enough, so I make all the vacation plans, because I'm cheap, so I shop around and
good.
No, you're smart, Brett. That's what it is. You're smart.
I shop around, but because of it, I'm able to travel to some really cool places because I research when it's cheapest to go there. Yeah. And I'm traveling with 5 people, so.
Yeah, that's not
even
cheap.
though I say it's cheap, there's no cheap about it, no matter what. As soon as you look at a plane ticket and in hotels and everything else, and you multiply it by 5, it's never cheap. But
look at one of the kids. You're like, which one could I kill and get away with this and get a cheaper flight?
I mean, Japan, we left one behind. We left him. He was like 2. My youngest was like 2 or 3. I'm like, he's not going to remember any of it,
right?
And it's going to be harder on everyone. Like we have the means to leave him behind, and it's it's not neglection.
It's a cage in the basement. It's no big deal.
I'm like left them with my parents. I'm like everyone's gonna be fine,
right?
So we're gonna do this, and we walked 10 to 12 miles a day,
and that's the other that's the part you don't
in 90-degree weather at night.
I don't want to do that either.
And we didn't know all that was.
That's
gonna
no
happen.
vacation.
Like 242. You gotta get the same thing.
So at that point, I'm like, by the second day, I'm like, it was the best decision we ever made. So, but I just my kids get to live through the childhood that I wanted. Not that I had a bad childhood, but we traveled to the same place for the same vacation every single year, and I loved it, and I wouldn't give a minute of it back. Yeah. But I was always like, well, I want to go see the sequoias. I want to go see this. I want to go see this. And my dad was frugal as well. And, he got to retire when he was 55 years old because he made a lot of good decisions, and because we went to the same place every single year and he knew exactly what it was going to cost. And, there was no, I'm just like, F it. Like, I want to go see this. I want to go see this.
Yeah.
And, or when the kids were traveling with gymnastics, I would try to, they went to Vegas every year. I'm like, well, we're going to make that a family vacation. If I'm paying to fly to Vegas, well, we're going to find out what we can do out there. So one year we landed in Vegas. We rented a car and we drove to Sequoia National Park, which was like, I don't know, it's like an 8 or 9 hour drive. And we spent 3 or 4 days in the park, and we drove, we came back to Vegas, and then they competed. And then another year we went out there and we did this 4 or 5 day road trip where we saw Petrified Forest National Park and Bryce Canyon National Park and Arches National Park and a couple other spots. And it was, I think we'd covered a couple thousand miles in a few days. Yeah. And then we went back and they competed. And then the next year, I'm like, all right, well, you're competing in Vegas, and as soon as we're done, the next morning we're leaving, we're going to Los Angeles. Yeah. And then and we explore Los Angeles.
Right.
But I'm like, what else can we see?
Yeah, you find something that's in that area that you're there, so you might as well make the best of the whole experience.
Yeah. But I've always swayed away from the seasonal thing because I don't want to feel tied down. But now I'm looking if I could find a seasonal spot that's reasonable, and it's within an hour.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we get in ours, when we get one, we'll. You know what you have to do though, and it's something that we didn't do, and I should have listened to Kenny when he told me to do it. Yeah. Was to put your name on the list now.
Yeah.
Because
you can always turn it down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And at least I'll go back to the top of the list. And if I would have done that when he told me to do it, like he's told me to do a lot of things, I would have been in a better spot. So let's take some questions from Facebook. So
hit that fish one. Get back to that.
Okay,
Our fish thirsty. Our fish thirsty.
Now, how did we get on vacation?
I don't even know. Who knows?
We started talking about Swedish fish.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It's all 6 degrees.
So can fish are fish thirsty? Which is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard, to tell you the truth. That.
So it's actually a great question.
I'm gonna hurt myself.
We all got glasses.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
I'm about to push them in.
So it's interesting because even though fish don't technically drink water, they need it obviously because they live in it, and their every biological function that they do depends on, just like us, except we need to intake it to keep things going. There, they just live in it. I know that that's more oxygen related, but when when fish waters get saturated with certain things, so like ammonia, for instance, it actually, or if the pH is off, it actually changes the way that their body can absorb oxygen, and you see them like gasping.
Right.
So I don't know if they get like thirsty for oxygen. So like, us, we're breathing oxygen. So if you kind of consider like fish as the opposite, like we have to intake water, and oxygen kind of just happens not naturally, but subconsciously, like we have to think about not breathing, right? So if you look at it the other way for fish, where it's like they have to think about getting. I don't even know if they have to think about it, but they have to search for air.
But that's their breathing mechanism.
They know, like with their gills aren't processing it, they'll go to the surface because oxygen is more rich, at the surface.
Yep.
So you can see that.
I'm gonna start calling him Professor Brett
and
from now on.
And I also know that when because of the way fish process water to get oxygen and other things out of the water as it passes through their gills, as soon as the salt concentration gets too high, so if it's a freshwater fish, fish can adapt slowly.
We should put those two right there on the podcast. Frickin' Frack over there, my two Darwin clownfish,
Johnny Clown and Jane Clown.
Dude, those boys have been through some nonsense, man. I'll tell you, my wife almost killed them. I don't know how many times when I was traveling. I come back and I'd be like, "You guys," and they're like, "Help us."
So I don't have it. I don't have an answer. I think yes. I think it depends on the water quality, but I don't think it's thirsty in a sense that. And obviously there's two definitions of thirsty that I think that we as humans go by. There's one where you need water, and there's one where you need something else. I don't know if fish get thirsty for either one.
Yeah.
So here's a good one. Best fast food French fries.
Oh,
and dipping sauces if you use them, which I am a big condiment fan, which my wife is not real proud of me about that, because her first meal she ever cooked for me, I said, do you have any ketchup? And she literally started crying.
So fries are only there to get the condiment into your mouth. Okay, that's the only tool. Fries are just a tool to get the chosen condiment.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I could. So first of all, what's your favorite fry?
It's McDonald's,
hands down.
Bottom of the bag, McDonald's.
What's yours?
Try to avoid fast food,
but if you had to, like you can reminisce. Like sometimes,
you know what? I'll go with Arby's homestyle fries.
Arby's.
Yeah, not the curly fries, but those homestyle. Actually, even the curly fries.
I was gonna say
either one.
If I could change my answer, Alex, I'd go with curly fries on Arby's.
Yeah, really.
Both. So they have the homestyle, which is kind of like leave the peel on type, and those are really good. Like I never really was a big fan of like those super thin, ultra crispy McDonald's ones. Not that.
Is there any more Arby's around other than the one in Chicopee?
No, West Springfield closed.
Yeah. That's all I can think of.
Yeah,
let's
locally.
take a look here.
Yeah.
Give me some seasoned curly fries.
Wow.
From Arby's.
Yeah, those seasoned the curly fries.
We got one in Worcester. One in Auburn, apparently. And Chicopee. And that looks like that. I mean, that's it in this state.
See, it's funny.
I'd go Arby's fries.
Wow. I was definitely shocked by that. So I'm going to go with McDonald's fries, hands down. What about dipping sauce?
Well, I'm gonna go two different ways with this. One, I mean, you got to go with ketchup. If it's
I'm not a big fan of it.
If it's I can't go no other way with that. Now I'm gonna flip it and say not only just a condiment, shake. Fry in a shake.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Survey says. That one's gonna keep going. I don't know why I can't shut this one off. There we go.
Get the applause from the crowd. See, I threw that out there because not many people do it, and then when you see somebody do it, you go, "You do that too?"
Yeah.
There's somebody else like that?
Another thing we used to do. I gained probably 20 pounds in 6 months doing this. We used to go to Roy Rogers. I worked in Newington, Connecticut at Circuit City, and we got in this chicken nugget thing, and they used to sell like it was either a 20 pack of nuggets, I think, and we used to get a 20 pack of nuggets, each of us, like all the managers, and then a side of mashed potatoes with gravy, and we would dip the nuggets in the mashed potatoes and gravy. Holy shit, was it good! But we were doing like every day. Some of us were getting 40 pieces. Like my boss was getting 40 pieces, and like I literally could hear him getting fatter.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny talking about that. One place I loved when it first opened up was Boston Market.
Oh, still do.
Still do. I mean, where's there one around here now? Is that one on the drive still there?
Boston Road.
No,
Drive's gone.
The Boston
Drive
Road
is gone.
Isn't the Boston Road closed?
No, I think that one's still open.
No.
The Boston Road Parker Street one by the Circuit City. I think that one's still open.
Actually, yeah, Ruby's is closed. Boston Market.
Ruby's is a Frontera Grill.
I'm gonna have to go back there and check. But I remember so the first Michael store I opened was in Avon, Connecticut, and they opened up one down the street.
Yeah.
And we're there every day. As a matter of fact, my crew used to come in with us. We used to go down as a unit.
Meatball sandwich, our meatloaf sandwich.
Yes.
And that chicken carver. Oh yeah.
Remember, get the manager special. The manager special. So you get the quarter dark manager, but you get the double.
Yeah.
And then I used to get 3 sides because why not?
Yeah.
I'm already fat as it is.
Because fat guy problems.
Yeah. And I remember. So, God bless his soul, Mark Fouts, who was one of my DMs who passed away shortly a little while ago. I walked in one day and he goes, "That shit's gonna kill you." And I outlived him, but he was a great guy, and every time he wanted to take me out to lunch, he called me up. He goes, "Hey, we're going out to lunch today. We're not going to Boston Market." I'm like, "Come on, man."
B-Mart, man. B-Mart. That was our stop coming. So track meets we'd always have in Boston every winter season or whatever. So the highlight wasn't these kids going to Boston and competing. The highlight was stopping on the highway.
Absolutely.
What is it, Charlton? One of those spots coming back is hitting B-Mart on the way back, getting spinach and cheese, mac and cheese,
the only
in the
spinach
dark,
I like.
in the dark meat. I mean, that was the only things these kids look forward to. They wouldn't even care. Nobody would. I'd be like, "Yo, you guys got to eat something at the arena. Like, eat some." No, I'm not eating that. I'm like, "Yo, you gotta we're gonna be here." No, I'm saving my money because we're gonna stop at B-Mart on the way home and always look forward to that.
And this guy, when I worked at the Circuit City in Springfield on Boston Road, there, right in that same parking lot almost. There was a guy working there who's only there for like a month, and in a minute you're gonna understand why. So one time this guy, one of my employees comes back, and he's like, "I'm going to Boston Market. You want something?" So I'm like, "Yeah, give me the chicken carver, special, whatever, with the combo, yeah." So give me this side. So it comes back, and I gave him, whatever I knew it was, $8 or whatever, and he comes back and he gave me almost all my money back. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "You're gonna believe this guy that's working over here." He's like, he's just skimming money. He's like, I gave him my order. He's like, I ordered for 4 people.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Give me $8." So we're going over every time we knew he was working.
Yeah.
We go over there. All right, let me get a full chicken, apple pie, full apple pie. Let me get 5 of these cookies. And he's like,
$8.
Give me 15.
$8.
15.
Because $9 would be way over the limit.
Give me $15.
Yeah.
But he had his own pricing system.
Yeah.
You couldn't it wasn't all $8.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite part ever.
And then you guys are like, "Well, shoot, we don't work there. We getting lunch."
Yeah. So shout out to Megan Landry because she actually came up with the best one on the whole entire list. And she better get on this podcast soon, man, because...
isn't she supposed to be on
Yeah, she was supposed to be on, and something came up.
She can get on stage and do all this drama and sing in front of everybody, and she can't come on a podcast?
Something came up.
Come on.
But she was supposed to be on here with Tina that night when we did the rescue thing. So, shout out to Tina because Tina's going to come back eventually. So she said... I should talk about my sexiness. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Do you even need to talk about it? I mean, when you get to a certain point,
you guys are the best.
Well, I already
stop talking.
I already told you, man. As a kid, you sold Avon with the Skin So Soft. But how you do Skin So Soft with Face So Ugly?
I did, man. Yep. My mom was an Avon sales rep when we were kids. Thanks for that, though. I appreciate it. That's why I have low self-esteem. So I appreciate that. So
you know that joke goes 20 years, 20, 30 years.
I know. His skin's so soft, face so ugly.
Hey, but he's got great skin.
He does. He does. I remember one time my mom's like, I was taking a bath and she came in with the Skin So Soft. She's like, "Here, put that in the tub." I'm like, "I'm not putting that in my bath." But it did. It was.
That stuff was crazy.
It did what it's supposed to do.
It was perfumey. It had a weird smell to it, but you put that in a bath,
Right.
Let's see what else we have here. Some of the stuff we're not going to be able to talk about, but
that's a good way to do it. Just roll the dice, roll the wheel on there, and just let it stop.
We can.
Oh, we could bust out the wheel.
We could bust out the wheel. You want to bust out the wheel?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't fall over first.
Come on now. There you go. There you go.
So we were talking about condiments for a minute, and I just remember Cranch. Have you tried Cranch?
No.
No.
So Heinz has they launched a whole bunch of different like hybrid condiments, and it's probably a lot of stuff that like we've all done on our own. So they have, and some of the names just suck. Okay, so they have mayo chup, which you can just kind of guess what it is. It's ketchup and mayonnaise, which is like that's like a Canadian and a French thing.
That is
French fries, right?
Yeah.
So
it's right here.
I stumbled across Cranch, and my family thought I was crazy. And I'm like, but I've done this plenty of times, mixed ketchup and ranch. Like, you go to like Plan B, and they give you ranch and ketchup for your fries, so I'll dip it in both, stuff like that. So I'm like, hell yeah. And then
I got a whole bunch of these.
Yeah. Then I started, and you're going to read them off in a second, adding sriracha.
I've heard about it. I've seen that.
So I've had sriracha with Cranch, and it is like my go-to. If I'm making a sandwich, if I'm making a dipping sauce, it's Cranch with sriracha because I like spice. I'm a big fan of the heat. But yeah, so they got a whole bunch, right?
Yeah, so they got mayo mustard, which would hands down be my favorite. Although I'm really kind of liking the Cranch.
It's my favorite.
Yep, and then mayo Q. I don't know what this is.
It's mayonnaise and barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I don't know if I would like that one so much, but
that's good because it makes like your barbecue sauce. It takes a little bit of sweetness and makes it creamy.
A lot of kids at the school do that.
Yeah, I will tell you this though. I am a huge
like people do.
Yeah, I'm a huge sweet and sour fan. I think McDonald's has the best one if I'm doing fast food. Although Wendy's does have it pretty nailed. It all depends if you want the red one or the other one. But yeah, I'm a huge condiment freak. Like, we go through condiments in his house, and my wife now just doesn't even say anything. She just looks at me and shakes her head.
Ketchup and hot sauce are the big ones for us.
But I had this morning, she made me a killer omelet this morning, and I put ranch dressing over the top of the omelet. So when I lived in Springfield, there was two guys that owned this little eatery right down next to where's the place in Chicopee Center, the German place. What's that called?
Munich House.
Munich House. So if you're looking at the Munich House on that side, you go up a little bit, and there's that pizza place. In that white building with the deck.
Shut down now.
Shut down now. Yeah, but that place used to be
A1 Pizza, I think.
That's what it is, yeah.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
Yep. So that place used to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner place. Well, it was a progression. These two guys had it nailed. Like, one of them was an anesthesiologist or something, or he was an assistant or whatever. These guys had really good jobs. Oh, the other guy was a nurse. But their lifelong dream was to open up a breakfast place. And we used to go there Saturday and Sunday. And so they had this home fries that they used to do with ranch dressing. And I'm telling you, he put those down in front of me. He goes, "You're never going to eat anywhere else after you have this." And I was like,
"It's like he drizzled ranch on top."
Yeah, I hear angels singing in the background. Yeah. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And so
ranch is underutilized. It really is.
I said to him one day, because we were going there for like months, I go, "How are you going to top this?" He goes, "Oh, is that a threat?" He goes, "Because I got stuff up here that I'm just waiting to do." So he started dabbling into lunch, and then he started dabbling into dinner. And, I mean, these were, like, not your typical thing. You couldn't go there and get anything typical. Like, maybe a salad, maybe. But, and I don't remember. It's been so many years. I mean, I lived in Springfield back then. We're talking 20 years ago. Right. But those guys had it nailed, and if they would have just stuck it through a little bit longer, they could have had something huge. Yeah. I mean, these two guys were amazing.
Yeah, that's where it all is right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, some of these pictures they're showing here for this stuff, I'm going to have to go out to the store tomorrow.
Yeah, so I can't speak to a lot of, I mean, Mayo Q, I don't like mayonnaise, so I've stayed away from those.
Yep.
But I agree with the combos because I've seen them done, and I've even kind of tried them, even though, like, I don't like mayo, I would mix it with a barbecue sauce, if I was making a sandwich or, like, a burger or whatever. But the Cranch, and especially if you like spicy.
Cranch.
Shoot a, but like straight out of the bottle, if you want something to dip your fries in, it's And I
would put this on literally everything.
Oh, and any type of sandwich, but like, and I'm obsessed with ketchup. Like, now I've graduated because again I like the heat. Anytime I'm using ketchup, I'll squirt and I'll do like a 50-50 with sriracha. Because I like that spice.
Yeah.
But and then I bought the Cranch. I started doing sandwiches. It's like dipping different things in it. And it's like it's become my go-to dipping sauce. That was, again, sriracha or some kind of hot sauce for the heat. But yeah, good time. And it's like right with your ketchups and other condiments. It's usually a whole section of all those different ones.
Yep. Now, are you big into hot sauce?
Oh yeah. I'm a hot sauce guy. I I don't get too crazy with the heat, you know, doing the suicide or DOAs or anything like that. But
you know, we should do one of these days,
like a hot wing.
Yeah, because I love that show Before We or When We Feast or whatever it's called on YouTube.
Yeah,
where they sit down, they go through the Scoville calendar.
Well, have you ever watched? What's the one where it's just wings, like hot stuff or hot wings?
Yeah, it's like something like that.
Hot stuff or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. Yeah. I'll do hot sauce. I mean, anything freaking.
See, I don't have any limit as far as like the level of heat for the most part.
Yeah.
I won't eat something hot just to say I ate it.
Right.
And I don't like when it's, and I think it's where you were had hot ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you were going is
it's First We Feast.
I don't want to sacrifice flavor for heat.
Right.
So like as soon as like you just made a hot sauce and it's just obnoxiously hot just to be hot and you forgot about the fact that it should taste good, then I'm not interested. If you make something that tastes really good and it happens to be really hot.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a really good example. I went to, when I first learned about Pintu's Indian restaurant, this is before they took over the old Ground Round. This is when they used to be on that little side street over by the CVS.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in a little, like, you know, it was like, I don't know, like a 10-table joint, right?
Yeah.
So we'll drop another name, Mark Sneezak, R.I.P. He brought me there one time. He's like, you got to check this place out. And at that time, Pintu was waiting tables.
Yeah.
The owner was waiting tables, you know. So he comes out, and my buddy Mark had actually kind of helped him out with some stuff when he was building the restaurant out. And he, you know, so he knew Mark. So we're sitting there, and he's like, oh, you know, how's it going, Mr. Mark, you know, whatever. And I forget what I ordered, and it was always like, you know, how hot do you want it? And I'm like, I'm all cocky. I'm like, well, you know, I don't know, how hot can you make it?
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever. And
they all start laughing.
So, like, he looks down, and it was like that challenge accepted. And they do look down, you know, and he's like, I'm like, make it as hot as you want. And he looked down, and like these devilish eyes, he's like, really? You know, like with this like kind of thick accent. And I'm like, oh, shit, what did I just do, you know? And I'm like, all right, well, we'll take it easy on me. I'm like, but I do like some heat. And he brought this dish back, and again, I don't remember what I ordered, but it was the most amazing flavor and the most pain I've ever been in.
Well, all at the same time.
All at once. You're like, damn, this is, oh, shoot.
Yeah, and that's an example of like where like, and I ate the whole thing, and I was sweating, my nose was running, my eyes were red. I drank probably 10 beers trying to cool my mouth down, but it tasted so good I could not stop eating it.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Despite how freaking, it was probably one of the hottest dishes that I've ever eaten, like, because, you know, I've ordered it and it was amazing. But, you know, like, you know, a lot of these wing places or spicy challenges, they're just like, they're putting
you don't even taste the meat.
Pure capsaicin extract, which is just, you know, it's just pure heat, and there's no flavor behind it, and it's like here, and maybe you can taste some vinegar and a little bit of whatever. I don't have any interest in that, but you know,
give me a chili that tastes good, but you're like, damn, you know, the flavors here, I could taste this and the meat, you know, a little sweetness, and then all of a sudden you get a little kick, you're like, whoa, you know, that's good. That's where I'm at, you know, or Cajun seafood.
Oh, anything Cajun, that's done right. You know,
anything like that. You know, I'll throw hot sauce, oysters. You know, anything like that, man. That's my go-to.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. Like with it's got to taste good.
Yeah,
because you can just make any hot sauce. Any guy can do that. But I think a lot of the companies now that are like legit hot sauce makers, they are definitely making it taste good. I think they know, like, you know, and like this wing thing we watch on YouTube all the time. That's one thing that he does. Like people try, because he has his own sauce.
Yeah, he's got his own brand. Like he's got 2 or 3 different tiers now. So like his hottest one now is his own brand. Right? Yeah.
And when people eat it, the first thing they do is like, oh my God, that's good. Until the heat kicks in, they're like, whoa. But they get the flavor profile first. Like I'm a big hot sauce guy.
Yeah.
I don't eat it as much as I would like to, but I have like, I probably have 20 bottles of hot sauce, and I, you know, usually on eggs and stuff like that. But I'm always trying to taste something different. But like Flaming Hot Cheetos, though. I mean, I had Flaming Hot chips the other day. They were hot. I mean, there was no doubt about it. But it was like in a weird way. Like I got really turned off quick.
Yeah,
you know,
probably like I want to taste chips. And this is supposed to be a snack, but burning my mouth off.
Yeah, and it was not even like a decent burn, like you earned it.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, they made it this way, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
couldn't,
there's that, you know, there's that big mass marketing, you know, component. So, and you'll find that with any of the like the chips, you know, and even restaurants, especially chain restaurants, you know, like fast food, like, oh, flaming hot, ghost pepper, blah blah. You know, you're potentially going to sell this to millions and millions of people, and millions of people, like your target market, you know, for Burger King or Wendy's or whatever, they aren't into food that spicy. They're not into ghost pepper.
Right. Yeah.
They, you know, they'll go and get the ghost pepper burger to say, oh, I ate the ghost pepper burger. Let me tell you, that ghost pepper burger is nothing like a ghost pepper. You know, and I'll every once in a while I'll try one, and I'm like, and now I'm at the point, I eat a lot of spicy. You know, I put hot sauce on everything.
Yeah.
And if I'm cooking for my family, and if it's not directly off a recipe, if I'm kind of freewheeling it, I have to have people taste test my stuff, because a lot of times I'll cook things and not think it's spicy at all.
To your level.
Like, I literally do not taste any spice, and then it's inedible for my family.
Yeah.
So I'll eat these things, and I'm like, I don't taste it at all.
Yeah.
And like, but then I'll give it to like my 10-year-old. He's like, yeah, this isn't spicy, you know. So there's that mass marketing piece where it's just like, you know, we have to make it, we're going to call it spicy, and it's going to be a little spicy than our normal burger or whatever it is. But we have to be able to still sell a whole ton of them to make it worth this whole campaign.
Right.
And that amount of people to pay for all that, you have to dial it down, so then, you know, people can come home to their wife and be like, I had the ghost pepper burger, and like, yeah, no, it was like, you know, not even as spicy as like eating a jalapeno.
Well, before my dad died, he dehydrated a whole bunch of ghost peppers, and he was a big pepper guy. He loved peppers. He had a whole ton of them, and a couple of years ago, my neighbor was over, and he's like, let's crack one of those open. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna suck, because these are like the real deal. They're not. And I took just a couple flakes, put those in, and I'm like, oh my God, I just did something really bad. And I had to really concentrate on breathing, because it was like every breath I took, I thought I was going to die. Yeah. And but my neighbor, he was like, he goes, this is no joke. But he was used to doing that, you know, at that level. But my dad used to make stuff all the time and just eat it. And so shout out to my two sister-in-laws, Laura and Karen. They are... Like, I watched Laura one time take out ghost pepper peanuts. I was eating it with her dad. I had to go outside for a second. Laura walks over and just with a handful of them pops in like they're nothing and just goes about her day. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And Karen's the same way. She puts hot sauce on everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of health benefits too to having
it's
something
ridiculous.
hot. You know, keeps your metabolism up and a whole bunch of other things. And you know, and I'm sure at some level, like your body starts to get used to it a little bit here and there. But if I stop for any length of time, it's almost like I hit the reset switch. Yeah. You know, I go back to that one little one I used to have, like no problem. Like, oh my God, it's so hot. You know. Yeah. Like, and I tried drinking it like I like seltzer. Yeah. For whatever reason, seltzer is not the thing to drink, and I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't do milk. So I suffer.
For hot stuff. Well, because the main component, so it's an oil.
Yeah.
And water and oil don't mix. So if you're drinking any type of water, you're just spreading it around. Yeah. You know, so you need to have, it needs to be lactose. It needs to be creamy.
Not for me.
You know, or you need to have some crunch. You need to have some crunch on hand, because, you know, there's a little bit of
milk in a toilet by
anything creamy, you know. Yeah, water is absolutely not going to do it for you when you get to that heat. And I'm not like at ghost pepper eating them raw level, but like sriracha is like ketchup for me now. So for like people who consider sriracha spicy, I can squirt it in my mouth, and it's like
drop in the bucket.
It almost tastes like ketchup to me at this point.
Yeah,
but with more garlic. Well, because I don't think sriracha or ketchup has any garlic. But yeah, like you just build up that tolerance, you know, and I still enjoy, you know, like jalapenos are like green peppers to me now.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I'm getting more used to. There's a lot of stuff that I'll get, especially if I get grinders or anything like that. Now they put it. I'll ask for it on there. You know, you're talking about the health benefits. Like there's sometimes when I'm stuffy, you know, not recently because of everything going on, but like you get stuffy or anything like that, I'm like, yo, throw some extra jalapenos on there, man. Try to clear me up a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, that's what I had to do today because my wife she put those melts on the stove, for to make the house smell better. And I'm trying to do work on my laptop, and I'm like, oh, what's that smell? I mean, it smelled good, but all of a sudden, I go to sniff in, and my nose, I'm like, oh. So that's a trigger for me that I didn't know I had before. Like, this doesn't bother me, this one.
Yeah.
But
is it like a flowery one?
Yeah.
The flowery ones,
yep.
they don't do that to me. I just don't like the smell. So, but it's nothing different. But yeah, I like these sweet ones. But yeah, those flowery ones, it's crazy that it actually like.
Oh, my eyes are watering.
There's no pollen, obviously, so it must be something in the perfume oils or something. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I finally had to come down here to just get away from that.
Yeah.
And so she took it off the stove, and it finally went away. But I'm jamming the Flonase in, thinking, oh, I'm nice and nasally for tonight's episode.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get downstairs.
You gonna hit that wheel?
Yeah, you want to hit the wheel?
Yeah, let's just keep
Well,
rolling.
it was in my way, so I didn't want to. All right, you ready?
Get a.
Get a subject, go around the table.
So your bucket list.
Bucket list? Sure.
Bucket list of
before you die.
One, I'm gonna say travel. I'm gonna say Vancouver. We both want to go to Vancouver. Bucket list. Personal level bucket list. Just on a ethnical standpoint, the African American Smithsonian in DC.
Yep.
Just I'm a history kind of guy, and throwing African American history with what's gone into work for that place, and again, we talked about different places you go to, and you're like, oh, I got to go back here. I don't want to go back here, but I would definitely go back to see something like that, just to see the history and relics and artifacts and things like that. So that's a couple of things.
Yeah,
completely free, by the way. If you didn't know,
is it really?
All the Smithsonian's are free.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
they're government owned. They're nationally sponsored.
So that's why they got part of the loan that they were giving out. I was wondering why that was.
Yeah, no, completely free. The only thing you got to pay for is if you eat at the cafe.
Oh, no kidding.
The gift shop. Yeah, but no, entry to all the Smithsonian's. Absolutely
I'm a
free.
huge museum buff.
Yeah.
Like, I was just talking to Wave the other day. Like, I'm a huge history buff, and I'm more I love the Constitution. Like, I love learning how that was concepted, and people, you can get into all the other stuff around it, but the Sturbridge Village, Plymouth Plantation. Oh, yeah. I could live there.
Yeah.
I've had the best conversations. Like, and I go there, I speak to those people because I want to learn how. Yeah. And they're always like, listen, I love when people do that. Like, people usually just come in, they look around, they leave. It's not why I'm here.
Right.
So me and this one guy were at Plymouth Plantation. We were getting into it, and we were having some deep conversations. So finally, he pulls up a chair. He goes, all right, sit down. And he closed the door, like, to other people. And he's like, ask me anything you want. And it was like an hour long, if not more, of just going back and forth about just how to survive back then.
Yeah.
And what they had to do. I'm fascinated by that, Like, how do they keep a house warm with just a little fire in one room? You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Did you get to go in the hut too?
That's
where the bark.
Yeah.
Hut? Yeah.
Yep. And he was absolutely, when it was done, he shook my hand.
Was it the Native American guy?
Nope. It was a big, tall, skinny white guy with long black hair.
Okay.
And never broke character once. But it was interesting. Like, my thing was too, like, how did you keep peace in the village? So he talked about all that, and it was how to make things. So outside they were drying all sorts of herbs and everything, and they were doing this for real. Like, this wasn't just like props. They actually play the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Some of the people in Plantation are, I think, they're residents.
Yeah. So I love Sturbridge Village. I could walk around there all day long. So for $80, you get a season pass.
Yeah.
And it's like
to
30.
Sturbridge?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can get like a family plan for or maybe it's the family plan that was $80, something like that. It's cheap, whatever it is.
Been to Hancock Shaker Village?
I don't think so.
So that is one that I think it's in like Franklin, Mass. It's kind of like Massachusetts' version of like the Amish. They're like Quaker type.
Oh wow, yep.
So it's like take Sturbridge and then take like your what is it, Dutch,
like Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah.
It's like the far western Mass type version of, I believe. I've never been there, but it's like, it's my Massachusetts bucket list, I guess. If we're jumping ahead.
Yep.
But Yeah. So I'd agree. Like same shit. You know, Sturbridge and you know the museums and oh my god, I can't get enough.
And I throw one more on there. Statue of Liberty. Never been to Statue of Liberty.
No,
Really? Yeah.
Never.
I did when I was a kid.
8 million people have been there and freaking field trips, freaking every other damn thing. I've never been there, man.
I did it. We were, you know, I caught it. We flew in and out of New York for one reason. Again, we'll go back to being cheap. It was a lot cheaper to fly out of New York for what we were doing. I think we went to Mexico that year, and we spent. I always like plan everything out. So we stopped at Louis' Lunch. You know where Louis' Lunch is, or what it is. It's the birthplace of the hamburger sandwich, and you know, supposedly National Historic Register places, whatever. And had like the hamburger,
steam.
No, flame broiled. Louis' Lunch is so it's really cool. It's right around down by Yale, I think.
Yeah, it's in New Haven.
Yeah, no, flame broiled. So it's a cast iron countertop flame broiler.
Oh, yeah.
And it's vertical.
It's vertical.
Yeah, and it goes in. It's the same ones they've used since like the late 1800s.
Yep. Place is about as big as that wheel right
now. Yeah, it's like this. And like everyone's name is carved in and everything like that. Place is really cool. And the freaking burger is amazing. They've been buying from the same butcher for like 130 years. Same butcher every day. They go buy fresh beef. They grind it, hand pack the burgers, cook them.
Oh my
Never
God.
Frozen, fresh. They get it at fresh every morning, and you can only get. They have like this little conveyor oven, like toaster. It's on two pieces of white bread. You can't ask for ketchup or cheese.
That's what I was thinking of.
They kick your ass out. You ask for that, and then they like it's between like one of those like the grillers like you get for camping to cook a burger, but it like stands in there.
So that I saw that on one of the cooking shows or
Man versus Food.
That's
where I saw it.
I get a lot of ideas of like places to go eat from Man versus Food.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love and I kind of started doing on my own is they'll take onion, slices of onion, the rings, not onion rings, and they put them on top of the hand packed burger, and then they broil them in that broiler like that, so the juices of onion like go right in.
I'm a big onion fan too.
Yeah, but anyway, so I got to visit the Statue of Liberty then, and of course a lot of things have changed. I think at that point you used to be able to go up to the crown. At one point you could go up to the torch. We couldn't even do that. I don't think we could walk a part of it at that point. Ever since, especially since 9/11, there's very little access, but still from a history perspective, super, super cool. You get to see the Ellis Island thing, and you can look for names and stuff in the the registry books. Overwhelming.
What's your bucket list?
Man, it's long, man. I've managed to knock off a bunch of things. Right now, I haven't seen as much of the Smithsonian's as I've wanted to. I think we did like the natural history one or the American history one, and maybe one other. I have not been to like National Archives. Have not seen Declaration of Independence. Constitution. I haven't seen those signed documents.
Yeah, we were there a few years ago, but it was before the African American Museum was built.
So a lot of those like historical United States things. I've driven by all the Lincoln Memorial, Washington. I've never spent time in DC.
Oh yeah.
To you need to spend a week there.
You have to.
Yeah. But it's so big. Like that's against what I like to do, as just where it is and how much is going on. It's just so busy. I don't like crowds. I don't like all that stuff. So it's a challenge for me to want to go do it. Like I'm more like, let's go to this national park. So I guess if we go, kind of down that road, like places I really want to see, even across the world, I want to get somewhere where I can see Aurora Borealis. I want to see the Northern Lights. Ideally, it'll be Iceland. But that's a challenge for me too, because I really want to see Iceland in the summer.
We'll have to go there anyways during World War III. That'll be our getaway.
So I want to see Iceland in the summer because it's absolutely beautiful. But then you're not going to see the Northern Lights. So then you got to go in winter. So I need to make 2 trips to Iceland. Ideally, my first one will be so I can see, Aurora Borealis. I've been north. I've been in an area. I've tried spotting it. I've been to Alaska, but that was during the summer. So it's like, can't see it there. I got to see a glimpse of it flying somewhere. I forget where we're flying, but we were far enough north and cutting across. So that's Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights is one of my things. some of the big major national parks, Yosemite and Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, and then if you're in Glacier, and if we're allowed to get into Canada, you're close enough to Banff, which is like an extension of Glacier. If you've ever seen pictures of any of those areas, you can't help but just sit there and look with your mouth open, and knowing what I've seen and like going to places like Denali National Park, like you can't.
It's nature, man.
You can't even. There's not enough you can say about it. It's like truly awe-inspiring. Like
you're in awe. I was gonna say that you're in awe.
You're speechless. Like like when I think about like my time spent, one of the first when we kind of started, my family started getting on a national park kick. It was to go to see Sequoia National Park because it's always been ever since I learned that those trees existed, and I went to Boston Science Museum, and if and a couple other science museums have them because again, if there's a museum in the area, I've been to it. Where I am, and. So they have a crosscut section of a sequoia, and like to look at it, and they have like pinpoints, like thumbtacks almost of like when things happened when this tree was alive. So
that's crazy.
So like when you and they're and this if you go to the Boston Science Museum, it's still there.
Check that out.
It's up against a wall, and it's like this 13 or 14 foot crosscut section of a tree with all the rings highlighted. And it's like, oh, well, this was like the birth of Julius Caesar. Okay. So this is before Christ. Okay. Yeah. This is when Julius Caesar was murdered. Okay. By the way, this tree was already, X amount of years old when Christ was born. This is now we're in AD. So like, that's when this tree existed. And so that's one thing. And I saw this and I'm like, this is a big freaking tree. And you can't even put into words what it's like to stand next to one of these things. Didn't
you have a picture? Didn't you post some pictures up recently?
Oh yeah, I'll share them with you.
Going to the park.
It's been a few years since I've been there, and that's one of the places. Again, it's on my list of places to go back to.
Yeah.
But again, I want to see redwoods. So if you're not familiar, sequoias are the most voluminous tree in the world. So by volume, by cubic footage, they are the largest tree. They make it's the most wood. Okay. Yeah. Now redwoods are the tallest tree. So even though sequoias aren't the tallest, they're the biggest. And then redwoods are the tallest, extending, I think, into the 400 to 500 foot range. So there's some within the national park.
It's a big tree.
That are documented as like the world's tallest, and they've found others like through air travel and things like that. There's one called Hyperion, and it's in an undisclosed location because they don't want it to become a tourist trap, but it's documented as the world's tallest tree. So anyway, sequoias, freaking unbelievable. Redwoods is on my list. Yeah. I got to see the oldest tree in existence, which is a bristlecone pine. Those also exist out in California and in parts of the West. And some of those trees date back. They date back several thousand years, and they're like super small, low-lying trees. Yeah. So like these are all things I learned about. I'm like, man, I got to see that. So it's all about like bucket list. But So some of those national parks, Yosemite, Yellowstone, Glacier, those are actually on my list. Like within the next couple of years, like I gotta go see those.
Yeah. What about personal?
Personal achievement. I mean, I still want, maybe not the business that my family runs right now, but a business to be something big. I want it to make an impact.
Yeah.
A positive impact. I mean, right now I feel good a lot about what our business does because there's a lot of, like fundraising, a
lot of community stuff.
A lot of community stuff.
Sure.
I feel really good like when we're working on stuff like that and we know that like, we helped out to try to, give a better price, so people could, donate more at the end, or give tips. I mean, I remember we got involved with like a fundraising 5K, and they're like, oh, we want you to do our shirts. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, so, you got a list of sponsors, you want to put on the back. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we never had like sponsors. I'm like, how long have you been doing this run? And they're like, oh, a few years. And I was like, well, your end goal is to donate. And I think they had a scholarship fund going, at the time for, whatever the benefit was. and I know the benefit. I don't want to get into too many details, but I'm like, well, get some sponsors. You know, I'm like, you know, in all the other experience that we've done, you know, the back of the shirt isn't something random. Like it's a list. It's all logos, and people pay logos. You know, a few $100. Like you go to like, you know, first of all, obviously business owners that you know, and then you know just go to them and be like, listen, you know, we have 500 people do this run, so there's gonna be 500 people wearing the shirt randomly throughout the year. With your logo on the back. So, you know, and have different tiers, you know, so basically everything you expect of a sponsorship type thing for one of those fundraisers. And it like changed the course of that fundraiser for a while. Because, and so I said, I'm like, normally in my experience, I'm like, just by selling sponsorship spots on the back of your shirt, you're going to pay for what the shirts cost and have some. Yeah. I'm like, right now you're paying for these shirts out of pocket and hoping you have some left over after all this, and this to donate, you know? Yeah. I'm like, so, you know, a lot of the stuff in, you know, schools, PTOs, we always like try to, you know, be very accommodating with price because, you know, we're working on a limited budget and it's for, you know, usually nonprofit or, you know, good cause, you know?
Right.
But that's not like the ultimate fulfillment. You know, I think like I want, and I was just in talks with a good friend of mine, yesterday, actually, we had a Zoom meeting around something to, and I'm not going to give too much spoilers, but an apparel brand, you know, at least from the beginning to, you know, focus on positivity and mindfulness and, you know, we'll be looking at sustainably sourced apparel and bio-friendly inks and printing process, and hopefully have that kind of evolve into this, you know, big thing, you know, that can make an impact on multiple levels. So, you know, personally, well, I guess that's more professionally, like that's, you know, something that I want to see. And personally, I just want to see my kids succeed and be better than I am.
Sure.
You know, that's my bucket list is, you know, I try not to be so much of a dad that they hate me, but understand.
It's hard with that fine line, man, making them,
you know, it's at least a couple times a week where, you know, they look at me like I have 3 heads. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, you know, don't mind the guy has 45 years experience doing exactly what you're trying to figure out right now.
That equals 0 to them.
Yeah.
That math doesn't work out.
I mean, you know, thankfully, I think I've shared enough knowledge with them and I've been proven right enough times based on past experiences where like I'm starting to have, you know, things I say have some merit where even if they don't openly admit that I had a good thought or, you know, and I also have tried to adapt how I talk about it, you know, and that's kind of taken pages out of like some management books where, you know, it's like, you know, you should versus you could, you know, or, you know, I'm gonna think of some other good examples. Well, yeah, I mean that's really one of the main examples is like, you know, you should is telling somebody to do something, or it's, you know, you could, or any variant of that. You know, have you thought about or have you considered? You know, ask, you know, kind of planting the seed, but not telling someone, you know, because as soon as, especially to a kid, you know, your kid. If you say you should do this, you're telling them to do something. You know, and then so that
you need to.
So that brick wall automatically pops up. So like trying to find ways to adapt it where they're at least a little, so that wall doesn't go up as quick. But that personally, that's my main, other than just continuing to have what I feel is, you know, a great marriage and you know, family life. And keeping my wife happy. She doesn't, good luck. She doesn't even watch this. So you know, I can say whatever
trash
I want.
Talk her now.
We're just trash talking. I have nothing bad to say about her.
Just happens to watch it right now.
First episode, she's like, Brett, can you come in the other room? We have something to talk about.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you. You know,
you're not going over Jeff's
anymore.
You're
want to lock the door.
So for me, it's selfishly, I want a Corvette at some point in time.
I'll have one for sale in like a week or two.
I want a brand new one, like this new one that looks like a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini.
Oh, that mid-engine one.
Oh, I just saw one of those the other day. It was a blue color, and this guy, you know, they're very rare, the newer ones out there, but this guy just did it right. And I was hoping he was going to pull off somewhere so I could, because I was following him, but he just kept going, got on the highway, and then he was gone. But that's something selfishly I want.
What color? The blue?
I don't know, man. You know, I was always a black car kind of guy since I was a kid. Regal I had, my what was that? What did I have when I was at a Dodge? What were those things called?
Did you have a Shadow?
No, not a Shadow. No. It was. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember what it was. Everybody had them. It was like the most popular ones about 15, 20 years ago.
Jeez, Neon?
Dodge Neon, that's what I had.
Oh, you had a Neon?
I had a 2004 Dodge Neon, yep. Well, I originally went there to go buy the SXT, the Turbo.
Yeah.
So my cousin was the finance manager then.
Turbo Neon.
Yep. And I'll tell you, that thing was fast, man. It was
They
no
actually
joke.
were. Those-
It was
yeah,
no
I
joke.
know.
I just remember I used to see people drinking
But it was still a Neon.
neon clubs.
And I didn't care. So I took
in Chicopee, you didn't stand a chance against a Mustang. So
I went to go test drive one, and I was like, nope, I'm going to lose my license. I'll take the other one. So I went with the 4-banger. And it was a nice car, 5-speed. But I've had black cars consistently. But going back to my last like 3 or 4 cars, I started to change the colors up. And believe it or not, I had a Kia Soul that was coffee brown, I think they called it. I loved it. Because I originally went there to Fathers and Sons, and they had a green one. I'm like, that's not happening. Yeah. And just as I'm talking to the sales guy, who happened to be the ex-boyfriend of one of my old roommates, the truck pulls up. And he's like, you can have that one right there. And it was a brown one. And I'm like, wow, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But the new one I have now, the Telluride, that's the gray color. I kind of dig that. But they have a green moss color that if I could get my hands on, I would trade that thing in a heartbeat with the black mags. Oh, but I find that I don't think I want to pay a car payment that what I'm paying now anymore.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I grew out of that a long time ago.
Yep.
I think we talked about
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm starting to have a problem with it, but I drive so far that I need something to.
Yeah, see, it's different for you because you need that peace of mind. You really like.
It's a conundrum for me because I'd rather not have the car payment and go spend my money doing something else. But on my bucket list, I definitely want a Corvette at some point in time. I don't care if I'm 80, I can barely drive, and I have to have somebody chaperone me. It's gonna be a Corvette.
Yeah.
I think personally wise, I definitely want to at least make it to 80 years old with my wife. I want to be that old couple on the bench holding hands and say we made it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And especially since I almost lost her, and we've been, in any marriage, you go through some stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we always seem to kind of pull through. And we were just talking about it today. I don't know about you guys, if you guys deal with this at all, but I'm very blessed in my life that I've come to the realization I'm never going to be rich, which is fine because the good Lord always makes sure that I have money when I need it. It's really weird. Sometimes we get strapped and then all of a sudden we get this money.
Right.
And it's been that way through our entire marriage. It wasn't that way before I met her, because I was working 2-3 jobs, when Justin was born. But I always know that I'll have money somehow or another. Right. Everything works out, right? So I don't know my point to my story here. Oh, so I don't know what I was just gonna say.
Well, you're talking about something today. You guys were thinking about something today.
Oh, so I don't know about So this is do you guys find like every month that you have bills that you swear to God did not plan for, and there's a certain dollar amount? So every month we have something that happens. Like Samson just went to the vet, cost us $1,000.
You got like 27 animals, so those are always unforeseen bills.
Yeah, I mean our deductible for our health insurance is insane. I just reached mine already. But now my wife has to meet hers, and
it's not like a family.
Well,
thing?
they kind of split. So it's individual till you hit a certain amount, and then it goes, then it matches the family. But if you look at it on its face value, it's almost like you're doing 2 separate things. Yeah. So with her brain injury, we have a lot of medical expenses, and her Botox injections we thought were covered. They're covered, but we have a deductible we have to meet, which is $400. So we always seem to have this $1,000 a month bill that comes up on it that we didn't plan on, man.
Just a pop up.
There's our random $1,000 bill again.
Pop up Zooms, pop up $1,000 bill.
It's every month. And I said to her the other day, I said, you know what? Again, it's one of those things where God always makes sure that we have the money for it. What do people do? And I'm really becoming really sensitive now, which it's it's always in the back of my mind years ago, but it wasn't something you always like. It bothers you sometimes is the fact that during COVID we saw people who were being evicted from their homes.
Yeah.
And I know there's a big percentage of those. Well, I don't even know what that's not even a fair statement. There's a percentage of those people that got kicked out because they decided they weren't going to pay their rent.
True.
We know that to be fact. But there's also a huge amount of people that lost their jobs. That unemployment only lasted so long. That $600 was helping them out. What do those people do? And how can they afford to live when I see my bills come in how I have to pay? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really starting to feel for that. And I just randomly went on GoFundMe the other day, and I put a whole bunch of money down on 3 people's. I don't even know who these people are, but I did it. And I find myself doing more and more of that, even if it's $25. One of my coworkers, her daughter was in a fire at her place, and I did that too. Unfortunately, she lost her mother 2 weeks before that in a house fire. That's insane.
Yeah.
But, I find myself, like I said, being more and more sensitive to that and seeing what people go through.
But you also look at it because you started off, you said you feel blessed, so you come home, but you don't take it for granted, though. You're like, I got a house, got light, got heat, got water, got food, but you're not like take it for granted. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm still working. Yeah. You're like, I'm still busting my ass. You're still providing.
Right.
You're not, you're thinking smart with what you have. You're not, hey, I got a car, I need 3 more. I got a watch, I need 5 more. Like, no, you're smart, and you've always been that way. I mean, you're smart with what you have, and you don't take it for granted. You don't look at it as like F you, everybody else, look what I got. You're like, no, I'm still working.
Yeah.
I'm still busting my butt. I still gotta provide.
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely believe in hard work. Sometimes I think I work way too hard, and I should. My work-life balance is terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's probably going to catch up to me one of these days.
But you say,
you gotta switch it off a little bit.
Yeah. You say you work too hard, but trust me, we all know this. There's people that just work way too less.
Right.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah. And I guess I've been fast on my feet too. Like when it comes to financial stuff, I pay attention to that. Like have my house refinanced during all this, just in case. And when the lawyer showed up to do my closing, he's like, "Listen, you guys did the right call. I'm doing a lot of closings right now, but I'll be doing a lot of foreclosures starting next year." Yeah. And he goes, "That's a fact."
Yeah.
So, I feel for people that this is happening to. Yeah. And, I don't know how to navigate that sometimes for somebody.
Yeah.
But so, I'm very blessed when it comes to being able to do that. And I do recognize that.
But that's also a point, that's a whole spectrum of conversation, because you could also dive into the, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm financially smart, because I'm probably the dumbest person when it comes to money, but you educate yourself on what you need to do. You look at a lot of the people in that situation is that, all those same people that were like, F you, I'm not going to pay this. It's COVID. It's this, and you can't make me. And then you're like, you can only get away with that for so long.
Yeah, that's just a bad decision.
Intentionally
make it bad. Like if you can't pay,
yeah,
that's a difference.
Yeah,
but if you're trying to use that excuse, if you're trying to, cell phones, everybody, that was the other thing that was big. Oh, I'm not going to pay my cell phone bill because it's COVID, and I'm not going to pay it. And all of a sudden they're going to be.
Good luck with that.
You can only get away with that for like a month or two.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm saying is that you educated yourself to know, okay, I can't do this. I got to do this. I got to look into this. If you come across a circumstance, you're already, look what you already do. Again, go back to your hard work and go back to your family. Go back to how things have always been. You're strong, that you can, sit there and survive. That's the other part of it. Is you're strong enough to survive. Where a lot of other people, where they use that excuse, Well, what else are they doing? Try to get by. They're doing this. They're doing this. They're using this. They're doing this. They're well, shoot. I'll try to. You know what I did? I got a little extra money because I did this, and I pulled this aside and I snuck this in. You can only get away with that for so long. People that try to beat the system. There are people that beat the system. There's rich people that beat the system, but you're also smart. You're smart and you're strong that you can. Hell, you do it once, okay, but you know better.
Yeah,
is the other people that continue to do that, and then they look to point the finger like, oh, how come is this? How come I feel this way?
Yeah,
that's where it comes from.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll say one thing. Actually, I forget what I was going to say.
I hate that. Yeah, it happens a lot, man. You wait for someone else to to stop speaking, then you're like.
Because
it's like you hear a topic and you're like,
well, and I've talked about it like before, where it's just like the
crickets.
I listen to hear, like a lot of people listen to respond, and like I listen to hear, like I'm trying to absorb it all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I'm trying to like maintain my thoughts because I do have good, additions or rebuttals in some cases, and I'm like I can definitely add value to this, but like I really want to take in what this person's saying, so I kind of just like lose myself in that. But yeah, I think I almost got it. So you're talking about, being appreciative and kind of paying forward and everything like that. And
I've been working on my affirmations and stuff that I'm thankful for every day, and it's been helping. Like when I get really upset with like if something's going wrong at work or whatever. I'm having a bad day at work, but I'm working.
Yeah.
And I have people who I go see every day that are appreciative of me to be there.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you really think back of and you know who we should call right now. Let's make it. You want to make a call?
Who you gonna call?
So we're gonna call Roger, and I don't know if he might be doing one of his calls right now, but so Roger does the Motivational Monday on.
Do I gotta follow so I might need to steal some posts, man. Motivational quotes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, he does a whole bunch of stuff.
You'll never find me in a bad mood because I'm I got a roof over my head. I got my family. We got food.
Appreciative.
Like, that's all I need.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
And you know what too? Like I was gonna say, you're 45, 46.
Hello, is Roger there?
He went into Walmart to get some bread.
He did. Is this his wife?
Yes.
You are on the You Can't Handle the Plouffe podcast right now. So say hello to the world. Well, we wanted to get Roger on the phone. I wanted to surprise him about being on the podcast today. So when he gets back out, tell him to give me a ring.
I sure will.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Tell her who you are.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, does she know who you are?
My name will come up on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I was gonna go with that. Is that like you'll never see me in a bad mood. Like people call me at work. And my coworkers and stuff, and like, why are you always so freaking cheery? Like, every one of my emails, like, I'm like, hey, thanks, happy to help, everything like that.
Yeah,
like, what do I have to be upset about?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I got a job, and even through all this BS, I had a job with a great company that I love, that I love working for, and I have everything else, that's important to me. Like, I have a roof over my head, I can provide for my family, and I have 3 healthy kids, and I have a wife that I'm pretty sure likes me.
Right.
So why would I not wake up happy? Like there's really nothing, unless it's going to impact one of those things in a negative way, there's nothing you can throw at me that's going to ruin my day.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's extended family and there's things that can happen with them, and those can impact, but like my day to day, when I wake up in the morning and I walk into my kids' rooms and I look over and my wife is still breathing, and I walk into my kids' rooms and they're cool, or they've already left for school, and I'm like, it's a fucking great day.
Yeah.
Like I go in the fridge and I can grab something to eat, and I'm like, this is a great day.
And you got to think too, you live, you can go deeper. You live in America. You live, you step outside. Are you worried? Are you worried about, shoot, is there gunfire? Is there
no one's coming to loot my house?
Is there a weather issue? It's hot, it's cold. You can handle that.
I don't even watch. I don't look.
I don't even look at the weather.
You don't.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. You step out, care in the world. You drive. You got a car.
Yep.
You know, if you needed to get something to drink, you can easily go to a store and get it. No issue.
Yeah.
You're hungry. You can either go in the next room and grab some food, or you can go down the street that quick and buy something. What's
Well, I'll take it one step further. I mean, like, my house is sustainable, so I have fruits and veggies, and I have chickens, and I have eggs, and I have bees, and I have honey. I mean, like, I've taken some precautions in case.
Oh, this year I better get some honey.
So funny.
We need to talk. Speaking of condiments,
right.
my favorite condiment.
Tell him,
Mr.
Matt,
Dumas.
tell him.
All right. So there's a couple of things I need to talk about as far as honey goes. So this is funny. Pulling onto your street, there was, I'm pretty sure your neighbor or the person at the end of the street on the right here.
Going up the hill? Or coming on down there?
So if you come around the corner, like it's
a blue house.
That was white, but
on the right-hand side?
Mm-hmm.
So if I come around the side, like the front of your house.
Like you can leave and go around. Yeah.
Yeah. And I go to the end of that street, and right at that corner on the right.
Oh, the ones in the driveway.
Yeah, so there's a garage.
Yeah.
So there was a dude in a bee suit entering that garage, like the owner standing outside. I think they have like a bee, and there was like some honey, like some hive boxes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So either they keep bees, or like they have an infestation of honeybees, and the dude was trapping them for him. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Because like there was like
Brett pulls over.
Yeah. Help. I almost asked him, like, dude, you got to, you have like a
conversation piece right there.
Because like I come around and I just saw this guy like kind of coming out of the driveway and entering into the garage with a bee suit on. I'm like, okay, you don't see that every day.
Brett's like a half an hour late.
Unless you're my neighbor. And then I saw like a bunch of random bee boxes like outside the garage. I'm like, I bet this. And then the neighbor was like sitting outside the garage, like kind of like watching the dude. So either they have bees, or there's like they're grabbing a hive.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch out for that every time I leave. Yeah.
But either way, so the bees. I took a couple years off, and I started up again last year, and the hives didn't winter. They didn't make it through the winter. I definitely had one, and even from the day I picked up the colonies, the guy who gave them to me is like, this one is definitely stronger than the other, and we saw that throughout the season, and one appeared to die off quicker over the winter than the other.
So are you telling me I'm not going to get any honey this year?
No, actually. So that's.
I'm waiting for the bad news.
So that's the bad news. The good news is because I had some the colonies they did their job and they were relatively new. They were brand new hives.
Yep.
This last year, because we went so many years without.
Yep.
So we started with all new frames, all new foundations. They had to build all the comb out. That's the main reason why first year hives don't get honey, is because they have to build out all the wax to build the honeycombs, so they can store the honey, store the eggs, all that, or the brood rather. All that work is done. So now I have 2 new colonies ordered that I'll pick up in about 2 weeks, and I can drop them into hives that are already built out.
Oh, there we go.
So as long as they're healthy, by fall I should have, and there's honey already stored. Like there's already
let's go.
There's already a surplus honey. Now I'm going to leave it because it was there. And I noticed it before the end of the season when I would normally extract. I noticed there was some, but I didn't think it was enough to take. It was technically in like what we would call the surplus boxes, as a beekeeper. But I'm like, these are new hives. It's not enough for even, a couple jars. Why am I going to waste my time and stress the bees out to do it?
Right.
So like the colonies I drop in this year are, other than having to clean out anything that was left behind from the bees that died, they're in a really good. They're basically established.
Nice.
So yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
I love honey.
Yeah, so
there was a local guy here that used to do the farmers market in Munson, and he used to have big jars. I'm talking like big jars, and I grabbed like 4 of them one year, hoping that if the end of the world ever came, because honey will last forever.
Yeah,
pretty much. It'll crystallize, but you can heat it up, and it goes right back to where it was.
Yeah.
And he used to get so excited when I showed up, because he could never get rid of those big jars.
Damn, man. Call me up on that.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. So this year, we'll take a ride over there and check him out. But there was someone else. Was it Wayne used to do honey?
Constantine?
Yeah, I thought I saw something on his Facebook page one day about doing honey.
I don't know if he.
Actually,
I don't know if it was him or like a relative of his, but something like that.
So we actually this has come up a couple times around bees and honey, and we said that we should have talks about it, right?
Yeah.
So now we're looking for subjects. So if you want, I'll shoot off some really cool random facts, which is what got me into beekeeping.
Well, we're gonna save that for a different podcast.
Okay, I was gonna say if there's no time.
Yeah, because when we get together like this,
Yeah.
We'll bring it up
We'll say
again.
that.
So that'll be our first topic next time because we don't have any guests. This is what
Yeah.
I really want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then because people have been kind of messaging me too, said, "Why don't you guys just get together, you guys?"
Yep.
You know, I said that's a great idea. We'll do that because
Yeah.
we can keep it going. We know we
Yeah.
know what to do. So yeah, it's
'cause that's my. You guys talk about ketchup and sriracha and ranch and honey. That's me.
I'll give you one fun
Right
fact
there.
though, because we talked about how it lasts forever. So bees, when they create honey, they store it in honeycombs. You know, everybody knows that, right? But they leave it and they don't cap it. They don't seal it with beeswax. So the honey that we harvest has been sealed and it has a beeswax layer over it. They have to shave off with a hot knife and then it pours out of the combs. Or you actually spin it out of the combs. But so they monitor the moisture content of it. I don't know exactly how they do that, but they check it like daily and they won't cap it. They won't seal it until it's at the ideal moisture content, the water content, so it doesn't spoil.
oh wow.
So true
So
honey.
they're doing the work.
Yeah, they're doing the work. So once you see that it's capped, it is at the right moisture level where it doesn't have so much moisture where it'll spoil and it's not dried out.
Right.
So that's why it never spoils, is because they've already done the work. They've analyzed it. Don't know how, but like when you have honey,
Little bee scientists that sit there with them.
they check the moisture content of it, and as soon as they know it's at the whatever, I don't know if it's by taste or whatever,
Yeah.
they'll cap it off, and then that's when it's at that content where it'll spoil. So if you see uncapped cells when you open up a hive, that honey is too wet, it's got too much water, and if you bottled it, it would probably spoil.
Wow.
In a large percentage. I mean, if you like pull a frame and 30% of it is uncapped and the rest is, by dilution, it's not going to make a big difference. But you're not going to pull a fully uncapped frame and just bottle that one thing because it will spoil. And to your point, I mean, they found canopic jars and things like that in the tombs of Egypt,
Right.
with honey, unspoiled honey.
Yeah.
It's tons of amazing facts. I could do. I could do 2 hours on bee facts, and it would explain why I got into beekeeping.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely talk about that next time because we are at our 2-hour mark already.
Hey.
Oh damn!
Hey,
Jesus.
just us. Just us.
Yeah.
And it's like
Hold
that.
on, Roger.
Getting
Roger
that call
called
back.
us real quick, so we have to call him right back.
All
Getting
right.
a call back.
Yep. The phone was on silent. Tell you the truth, I looked down. I didn't even see it.
Nice job.
Yo.
Yo.
What's up, my friend? You're on the You Can't Handle the Blue podcast.
I love it. Love it. And the missus.
We got to talk to the missus for a few minutes.
She knows that you never go to voicemail. She said, I'm gonna go ahead and answer this, and she said I'll never do it again.
Tell her she was our best guest we ever had. When I first told her she was on the podcast, she's like, "Nope." So you did a little Walmart run there.
Well, I just had to run and grab some bread for the missus.
Nice.
And, so she was driving, so I thought I'd do the husbandly deed and go take care of things. I was just in there for like 4 minutes, and I thought I'll just leave my phone in the car. So who's gonna call me?
Well, you can't go into Walmart for no 2 minutes. That's gonna be a long
Listen,
trip.
No, it was straight in. Grab bread, grab jelly, and I was gone.
Yeah, but how long did it take you to check out? That's the.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! Listen, down south it's all self checkout now.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's like 30 self checkout lanes, and there was like 8 people out there, and that was it. It was not busy at all.
In and
I
out.
got lucky.
I avoid the self checkout. Like I hate self checkout.
So for the world and YouTube, Roger is my accountability partner, and we talk a lot about on the podcast about having accountability partners and having people that you can call and they're there for you in the right way. They're gonna steer you in the right direction.
Kind of set you straight when you're a little out of control.
Yeah. And what I love about Roger is I'll call and if I say the wrong thing, but because your words play in your head and you can be your own worst enemy. And sometimes he'll be like, "What'd you just say?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I just clicked for a second. I didn't say it right." He goes, "Now say it again." So I'll say it in a different way, and it makes, I'm like, okay,
Now, Roger, do you raise your voice when you say that? When you say it again?
No. I'll just, and it's almost kind of rude. I'm like, Jeff, stop, dude. Stop talking. He's like, what? I'm like, rephrase what you just said, man. I mean, what you just put out in the universe doesn't care what you're saying. It's just going to listen to what you're saying and put it into action. He's like, I know, man. I forgot. I wasn't thinking it. But, people catch me on it, too. So not that I'm perfect by no means. I'm a big advocate on what you put out is exactly what comes back.
It is. It's true, man. Having those people around you, like, so Roger, we're sitting here with my buddy Matt and my buddy Brett. We've been friends since high school. And, one of the things that Matt says all the time is, show me your circle of friends and I'll show your future.
Right.
So it's true, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, so me and Roger met last year at work, and we were handpicked to go to a thing called Acceleration. And I remember sitting down so Roger friend requested me on Facebook like 2 weeks before that. So I didn't know who he was. I just saw that it was somebody I worked with, and, I'll accept those people all day. And we were sitting down for breakfast, and I looked behind me, and Roger's not a small guy. Roger's a big boy. And handsome as you would not believe.
Oh, as handsome as your day is long.
That's right. And he had this watch, right? This watch, I'm not.
Yeah.
It was this big.
Yeah.
And Roger, when you watch the video, you know I'm not lying about the size of the watch. And I'm a big watch fan, as you guys know. So I automatically liked him right away. I'm like, this guy's got some good taste. And we get into our classroom, and he sits in front of me, and I didn't know this, but I was watching him, and he was taking notes, and everybody got up and said a little bit about themselves, and he was taking notes of everybody. And we were actually able to go back, and he would read those notes about me. And I thought that was really cool that he took time out of his day to listen to what we were all saying and jotting little things down.
Right.
And so weeding, seeding, and feeding is one of our biggest things that we took away from that day. Right, Roger?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Life-changing.
And we just did it. So we were talking the other day that, sometimes we have people who don't see our vision, and that's okay. But the people that want to be on our bus with us and get to where we want to be, it's going to be glorious when we get there. And like I said, it's okay. My bus makes multiple stops. You can get off anytime you want. But we had to let go of some people and take them off our routes. But it's amazing when that happened is my sales increased pretty major for the month.
Right.
Because now I was able to spend time with people that have our vision.
That really wanted to make that effort or follow that bus route.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes total sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the 20 that'll get you 80.
And that's one thing that me and Roger go back and forth with all the time is we talk about being a good person, being there for our customers, and then, actively listening. And what else do you have, Roger? What's your take on?
You said the bus too, but and I jokingly said my bus will run you over too. I mean, it'll let you off, and then I'll back up and say, "Hey, are you okay?" and then run you over again. Not, I mean, as a joke, there's my life's way too short, and you say circle of friends, but I think I've even narrowed it down to the 5 people you hang around the most is where you'll be in 6 months.
That's right.
And it's so crucial that I got to share this, and it's funny you said that because we were talking about vision, and just happened to see this. It was a video with T.D. Jakes and Oprah Winfrey. It was like 5 minutes long. It's on YouTube. You type in T.D. Jakes, giraffe, and turtle. And he talks about a giraffe and a turtle. That's their perspective. And if you think about a giraffe, it's 26, 30 feet tall. What do you think its perspective and how far it sees? I mean, it can see for miles.
Right.
A turtle can see 3 feet in front of it. What kind of food is that giraffe eating? It's eating the prime fresh fruits and leaves and just the foliage. What's the turtle eat? Everything left over, it's on the ground. And it's not that the turtle's perspective is wrong. It's just its view and what it sees. And I thought, I cannot hang around with those people that have that just in front of me mentality and they have no vision of prosperity and vision of greatness and vision of having more and doing more to be able to help people more. So for lack of better words, I started, really hanging out with the giraffes, if you will, the ones with the vision that can see. And he says something in that video that says if the giraffe puts its head down to the turtle, it's where it sees at that level for longer than a couple of minutes, it'll pass out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 9-pound heart that pumps all that blood to its head. And I thought, it's just amazing to me that when you bring yourself down to that level, you become that.
Right.
And I'm not willing to sacrifice that. I've had way too many sacrifices and realized how important it is to have those really strong people. And I had just texted Jeff when I got in the car, and my wife said, "Funny story," and she told me what happened, and I just died laughing. I texted Jeff immediately, and I said, "Susan knows that when Jeff calls, he doesn't go to voicemail, regardless. And if he's in a shop, he's like, dude, I'm in a shop, man. Can I call you back?" Now, it might be 3 or 4 hours later, but right back means, dude, as soon as I get a chance, I'll call you right back. And
Yep.
I'm never upset about it.
But I will, on his defense though, like I am horrible at, I'll call you right back. Like my ADD, sometimes when he hangs up, I'm on to the next thing. And sometimes I forget, and I feel so guilty when I call him.
Yeah, I call you back is like a week later.
Yeah. But he's so good about calling me back, and he's like, "Thank God I didn't wait by the phone," and I hate doing that to him because he's one of those people where we have that relationship, and I really honor that relationship. So it's
what is it? SpongeBob where he says 5 years later.
and tell the wife that I was very humble that she actually answered the phone for me, and that's very sweet of her to do that.
She had a big smile on her face, and she wasn't upset. She just said, "Yeah, I don't think I'll ever answer the phone." I was like, "Angel, you know that when Jeff calls, she's like, I know, that's why I answered it."
Well, I definitely appreciate that, buddy.
Star, hey, no, it's all good. I'm honored that you called.
Yeah. All right, man. We're going to let you go because we're wrapping things up here. I just want to get you on the podcast finally. And very shortly, we're going to be doing some Zoom stuff, and you'll be part of that process.
Take it easy, man.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. Love you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Absolute stand-up guy. All right.
I'm looking that up. I knew where he was headed with that.
So I'll give you his Facebook pages tonight so you guys can check him out.
Giraffe
he's a
and the
great
Turtle.
guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have given a few talks about. It's funny because when he said giraffe, I'm like, I knew where he was going because I've done some talks talking about giraffes and being tall and being proud and walking tall, and when he's talking about, as soon as he said drop your head, I go, I know he's going.
It's like you stoop to that level and it'll kill you. Literally.
It's true.
You can't handle it. It's
I have people who I don't associate with anymore because it's just constant. Like, I'll say this real quick and then we'll wrap things up. But I had a customer a little while ago. They did something on their own and it cost them some grief. I constantly followed up to make sure that they were handling this, but I can only do so much. And she decided to tell me one day that you're not welcome here anymore. I said, what did I do? And she basically just reiterated what she was doing wrong. I'm like, but I was here the whole time with you. I can't handle that for you. You got to handle it yourself. Yeah. But I supported you the whole way. And you're telling me something that happened 6 to 8 months before this. But I'm like, okay, but it's amazing how even when I took care of the situation, I don't know if it was from embarrassment or for what it was, but they still held it against me. So I ran into somebody last week and she had mentioned it to me. And I said, you know what? I'm not mad at her for it. If that's the kind of life she lives where she can lash out at somebody that's okay. I only wish her health and happiness. And guess what? It actually gave me time to go work with somebody else. And I opened up a new account literally 2 days later from somebody who called and said that I need him in my account. So things happen for a reason, so I don't look at it as though, I did something wrong. It was a learning experience for sure. But some people, that's how they live their life. And I'm just not willing to do that.
Yeah. I've long kind of let go of like toxic relationships and people, like you can automatically sense like, kind of where you go when you interact with certain people, especially if it's on an extended basis. And sometimes like it's either a person that you've evolved out of, or it's a person that you're devolving to, to be on a level with a person, and, again, as I've kind of come more in touch with the fact that I don't really like interacting with a ton of people anyway, and that a lot of interactions were forced interactions, especially being in retail and everything.
Yeah.
Now it's become so much easier for me to just kind of cut ties and be like, I don't have anything against you personally. I'll still be friendly with you. But you might not be a part of my everyday life. Because you're not helping me be better as a person. Because everything that I do now, I mean, I'm more than halfway through my life right now. Right. Like if something that I do doesn't help me become a better person or improve me in some way, I really don't want it. You know, really, like I've gone through all that time of experimenting and I wouldn't call it wasting time because it's all valuable life experience, but just, you know, doing things that aren't worthy, you know, of the limited time that we have on this earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I had a lot of fun doing a lot of it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, you know, but there's some people that, you know, even at 45 years old, you know, or even within that range, 40 to 50 years old, as we all are, where like, you know, it's that the time for that is kind of expired.
It's done.
Yeah. It was fun experimenting, experiencing, you know, it was a great time. You know, I might not even remember all of it or any of it. But, you know, how is that helping me? You know, it helped me improve when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because it helped me realize who I wanted to be and what direction I wanted to go in and definitely pinpoint what directions I didn't want to go in.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, there's still some people that are just there and not looking to go forward. So it's like, you know,
like you said, sometimes it's like, am I better off to be a little more reclusive? You know, because sometimes when you throw yourself out there, but I mean, it's also, I guess, it's for me, my personality is I have to. It's a constant fight. You know what I mean? Where I want to be that guy that actually goes and buys a cabin in the woods and goes and lives in his, you know, I would be good at that guy.
Currently shopping for a cabin in the woods. I mean, you know, and I'm not saying like resist new relationships, because, you know, because again, that goes against exactly what I'm saying, where it's like, you know, find ways to better yourself. Now, for me, it's a challenge, you know, because I don't like interacting with new people or meeting new people. Like if I've known you for 10, 20, you know, even a year, you know, and I feel comfortable with you, like this is who I am, you know, but like I'm not the person to walk up to you in a room to introduce myself. I'm not that person. You know, you come to me, I'm cordial, and then if I find that, like, you know, me personally, you know, however you might feel about it, if what you're saying adds value and it's not just, hey, how's the weather, you know, then that relationship starts. Right. You know, because I'm like, okay, I can gain something from this person and hopefully I can add value to them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not saying that. I'm talking about, like, you know, people that, like that those people that you've known forever, and you know, not that you need to expect things from friendship or relationships, you know, but you should feel that they enhance your life, you know. So at a certain point, certain relationships stop enhancing, you know, and I'll never forget those people and I'll never turn my back on them. And there's still times when I answer my phone for people who I don't talk to on a daily basis because I feel that kind of they drag me down. Right. You know, and, you know, thankfully those people don't call me that often. You know, the people that who add value to my life and make me look forward to every day, I interact with them as, you know, as much as possible. Usually it's not me, you know, initiating it, because that's just not me, but, you know, I'm here every Monday, you know, because this enriches me, and then I feel that I can enrich other people.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, but there's people in my past lives, you know, that, you know, I mean, people that we've known, you know, for a long time. And it's like, you know, I'll get a phone call once every 6 months. And I'm like, you know, but I won't turn my back on that person, you know, because they, you know, but I'm not going to call that person every Friday to see what they're doing. Yeah. You know, I'm there for them. And if they were ever in a hurt, I'm going to answer that phone, and I'm going to, you know, because that's the kind of person I am, you know, but I'm not chasing after you to see what you're doing, because I know that what you're doing is not going to enrich me and not going to move me forward. Right. You know, it's those type of things. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm still, my phone, you know, it might be a week, it might be a month before I get back to you. But, you know, I don't turn my back on anybody. Yeah. You know, but the people that I'm yearning or, you know, to spend time with, it's where, you know, I know that it's mutually beneficial, because life's too short. And you know, I'm at the point now where, like, I don't want to talk about the freaking weather. Like, you know, I don't want small talk. Right. Like, you know, if I can add value in the 45 years of nonsense that I've learned, you know, in talking about bees and, you know, fish breathing and drinking, you know, like, I learned that. I don't know why. You know, but if I can talk about what I know about fish and somebody gains something from it, sure, I'm all about it. You know, and if you want to hang out with me or talk to me because I know about fish breathing and drinking, sure, cool. You know, but I'm going to expect the same from you. Right. You know, like, I want something. I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, so and we can get into sports another way, another time, because I don't watch sports.
I'm not a sports fan. Although Matt is,
I know. Because like
I'm just not good at it, man.
I've never been good at it, and I get it. Like it's entertaining, but like when I watch whatever sportsing is going on. Yeah. I guess I'm going to generalize it because I could say match or game or whatever. There's all different terminology. I didn't gain it. I'm a sponge. I'm like, other than stats, I didn't gain it, and then stats aren't my at least for sports aren't my thing. Yeah. So it's like it's all about enrichment. Some people are fully enriched in like sports are their thing, and you're a perfect example.
That's my thing.
And I have nothing against that. It's not me. Like we'll never get together and talk about sports. We can get together and we can talk about it really everything else. Yeah. And I'm in.
Yeah.
But sports, you got me lost. Unless you want to talk about like basic principles like basketball, you got to get it in there.
Breast like 5-5 hoop.
There was a point in time where we go to friends' houses and they'd be talking sports, and I'd be like, and my wife jumps in and starts talking about Red Sox stats, and I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I knew more.
So I ran a sporting goods store for like, I don't know how many years. Yeah. And people like, I could be like, oh yeah, my husband's like, this fan, what jersey do you think I should get? I'm like, I have to call someone over. I'm like, hey, this team, right? But, who's popular? Yeah. And eventually I was like, listen, if they printed a jersey and it's for sale, he probably likes them.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I have nothing against it, but like for me, it's not fulfilling. I mean, that's why I'm trying to. My bucket list is getting to all the national parks.
Yeah. I want to travel more. That's one thing I was always afraid to travel until I started taking this job, and I have to travel. Not so much with COVID, but before that. I got to see parts of the country that I never saw before. I'm not afraid to fly anymore. So I think that's, I was actually watching a TikTok, believe it or not, today.
You are all about TikTok.
I love TikTok. It's an endless abyss of fun.
It's dangerous. Dangerous.
That's one I haven't dove into.
We'll have to work on you because my daughter made me download it. I remember walking in
her
room.
If you had 2-3 hours in a day, they're gone.
And I used to be anti-Facebook and anti-Instagram too. So
and here we are.
We know where that went.
Yeah. All right, guys. I have to pee, so we have to finish this up.
Yep.
Don't you have a diaper on?
I should. I'm
should start
getting to
wearing
that age.
Right?
Yep, or a catheter. All right, Matt, go ahead.
Hey, shout out drinkdefied.com. Hey, CBD, love it. They got their mask too now, but great product. Terrell Davis out in Denver. Thank you. Thanks for all you've done. Appreciate it. Thanks for talking to my son too.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's big. Yeah. So as always, promote our family-run business, IQ Inc. Screen printing and embroidery, anything from 1 to 1,000 shirts. So just realized this, recently. Been in business 10 years.
Hey, nice.
As of this year.
Congratulations.
So I officially registered the domain July of 2011. So big. I'm gonna try to maybe work on some like anniversary type gifts for our clients and things like that. Maybe like a free t-shirt. But yeah, so screen printing embroidery, IQ-Inc.com, and always my son's in a business. He's got a new collection. The name is not released yet, even though I know it. But
a little secret.
Always, he's got what he calls his core collection and limited release. Drops every few months, bluebeeapparel.com, and on TikTok as Blue Bee Apparel, and also on Facebook and Instagram. But couldn't be any more proud of the 19-year-old entrepreneur and his business model.
That came out really weird. Did you hear that? Oh, I couldn't even talk.
Yeah, it was like an Isaac Hayes type.
Wow, I didn't know where that came from. That was.
So IQ-Inc.com, bluebeeapparel.com.
There you go. Kids grinding already.
Yeah, man.
So as always on the podcast, we are very much into animal rescue. So rainbowrescues.org. That's Rainbow Rescues with an S.org. If you can find it in your day to donate whatever you can, $1, $2, it doesn't matter. Everything helps. We are an all animal rescue. And we bring in some animals that definitely need some attention. So our medical bills are always about right here constantly. So any kind of donation would be muchly appreciated. Let's not forget about Bordeaux and Sons Flooring.
Hey, Bordeaux's and Son.
Big Chris in the house.
Yep. Flooring and podcast walls.
Yep. He did this room you're looking at.
Yeah.
So reach out for him. And as always, we very much thank you for tuning in and watching us with our nonsense. So we appreciate everybody. And until we see each other again, peace.